Oh, you guys are ready to go. Get that going
Just
right
like
there.
that.
You want to do us dirty,
Exactly
Joe?
at
You're going to
11
get it there.
o'clock.
Thank you so much. We'll see you guys at 2 p.m. Ciao.
Yeah, you better be back at 1:45, my guy.
Oh, this guy, bro. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. This handsome gentleman is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And welcome, welcome, welcome all. Let's say hello to everybody. Joey, who we got here? We got Blackhawk. He's always in the chat. Darwin, the OG. He's always numero uno. Chadwick, we got Modesto, Bastone, Gorilla, shout out to Jacques, Evan, other freaking Zinc, the OG, boom, right back at you, baby. We got Party P, we got Pizza Gang. I didn't even have a coffee yet. This is me without a coffee. We're gonna get a coffee right now,
crack,
Joey.
my boy.
Angry Wife, good morning, right back at ya. Andrew Chow and Rex Banner. We got Princess JYAN. The Judgment 18. He be judging, Joey. Varun. Oh, I love this guy, man. Adam James abroad. Adam Benton. Let's go Wolves. Absolutely. What a beating. Liverpool losing in extra time yesterday. Sorry, my old man. Grant Ratcliffe, Kiara Matsu, we got Aschio. Who else, man? John Zuver and Green Day Dean. Shout out to Danielle and Bristol, Ace Ventura, Pet Freaking Detective, and Billy Bezos, otherwise known as the illegitimate son of Jeff Bezos. Kidding, of course. Sit and spin. Ooh. We got Pizza Pie. I don't know why I said that. Charles, TT Mask, Bustin, Buffalo Soldier, Mike PD Rider, and one more, Joey. Stone Broke.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Stone Cold.
I said, oh, well, yeah. I don't think you need a reason to hit that, but there you go.
I do not need any form of
Good morning, my boy.
What's up, man? Sharif bringing the energy this morning, that's for sure. Katina, man, and Neil as well, too. Your boy, you know how we act, man. All right, let's get right into things. Where is it? Assassino? You can see one name on the one name on my favorite angle. You
Which
know
one?
There's one name on the list.
Which one
Starts
is it,
with
Joey?
an I.
Oh.
Ends with a T. All right, that's all we got here. No, in all seriousness, guys, there it is on IBIT. I mean, out of the gate, we started 0 for 2 on this thing, and then it's just one trade in which I had literally 10 times the amount of shares on this second compared to this first trade, and 3 times the amount that I had on this trade right here. So a good, nice little move there on IBIT. We still got Neil and Sean up there. I don't know if we want to switch that anytime soon. We can get a transaction and you guys can see our positions. But other than that, guys, that's what I had, IBIT. And I was looking at GitLab for maybe a continuation to the downside, but that hasn't been the case yet. So we'll continuously look at the market. Here's my list here. The Qs, IBIT, GitLab, Netflix. And I said, if you have some foul words to say, you write it down. That's what we did. We wrote it down on about the TQQQs. And I honestly wasn't trading it. I didn't really care to trade it today. I just wanted to see what it was up to. But there goes Bitcoin, IBIT putting in a new high of the day. So that's it. Netflix. This is what before we send it off to Sharif, my man says, Angry Wife, I told you, surprise, surprise, the IBIT boy is back. I haven't been trading this one for quite some time, but as soon as we open, let's actually get a little bit more detail into this before we send it over to Sharif. He's got his things that he's going to go over. But why was I long this name today? Just because of this gap up above this resistance zone, and then you open up above the range. It's literally that simple. I'm a KISS individual, right? I try not to complicate things too much, and that was it. You see a gap up on top of a resistance zone, and then AC Slater to that one. Let's get involved on that bad boy. Still, Neil and Sean are up on the position board if we wanted to get that changed. I don't know. Oh, we're working on it. Okay, so we're working on that right there, guys. One more thing before we send it over to
Take
Sharif.
your time, brother.
Netflix, $100, massive supply zone. Where was our high of the day? 99.80 roughly, 78, we'll call it whatever you would like, but you get the gist of things. We talk about this all the time, and then sure enough, we flush lower, now back to 98 bucks. I said that we would hit $100 by the end of the week on IBI, on Netflix. I still think that's going to be the narrative.
Down goes Fraser. CANF dropping off a cliff, Joey Opsh. That halt level 1040, 1030, whatever the hell it was. It ended up opening significantly lower at like 7 2/3. It's fighting for its life right now at that $7 area. Believe it or not, it's still up 38 and change. But this one looks like it might be the bamboozler in chief. So we're going to have to watch this one, see exactly what it's all about. And if it's warranted, we will execute. The way that I'm looking at the market right now, I'm looking at two names that I like more. Okay, CCHH. I'm going to call it, no, I'm not going to call it that. I take that back. CCHH. Look, double bottom into 105, a previous area of resistance. Here's what we're going to do. We're looking to execute on this now. It is breaking out. So the risk, let's go ahead. I'm using my calculator, of course. Let's go like this. And then we need to give it to 104s because that's where it has support. So there we go. All right, so we're good to go. Let's punch. Stop goes at 104. We're looking for a move in. Okay, so my two are on this. $1.40. That's substantially higher than the high of the day. My three are 152. There it goes into the high, into 122. We're wetting the beak here, saving a majority of the position for the high of the day break. And here it comes. Joseph frickin' Options into the high. It goes. CCHH up a respectable. This guy is losing it over. I love it. He's got both hands on this stream deck. You should have seen what I was looking at right now, right? I love it. So there it goes into the high. We're holding, obviously, a lot here, and we're going to let this one go. We're looking for a move, again, through the high. It's at 128 right now. Let's put something at 130. Small amount here, guys. We're looking for the bigger move. Initially, I want to see if this is going to take out the high as well. So it's dancing at that 128 level with no clearing as of now, so we know for a fact that there is an equilibrium currently between the buyers and the sellers at that 128. We stop out below 104. So that's what I'm looking at there. Zen Zombie, my boy, MobX. MobX is yesterday's news, unless you're looking for a short. We're going to look at that in a second, but I just want to see exactly what CCHH all about. So MOBX, I saw that one as a holdover from yesterday. It does not look good. Let's flip. Yeah, so this one, my suggestion to you, Zen, is a couple of levels. 112. That is the yesterday's closing print and also a very obvious area of support in the pre.
Right.
And then it lost it pretty aggressively right at 930. So I'm looking to short 112. If that breaches, you're looking at VWAP 120-ish, okay? I'm biased short on MOBX. It's around for a good time, not a long time, right? Hasn't given up yesterday's entire move, but it's down 12 and change. And there goes CCH, Joseph Options, taking out the high. Let's wet the beak here. There it is into 130. We didn't get printed at 130 because it didn't cross, but it did breach a prior area high, and that creates a new intraday high. So we're looking for the continuation on this, my man. What do you got?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure of Bitcoin, by the way. I'm actually long from 4080, 4081, we'll call it. Taking last execution, yeah. So I mean, we've been long from 4080 right down here, guys. I told you we started over 2, and on the note, I'm like, hey, it's gonna take some time for this ball to get rolling. So let's break this down a little bit. I'm like, okay, we're holding VWAP, no problem. If this consolidation doesn't hold, we hop out. I get on these lows, start a position. We head in towards the volume-weighted average price, and I can see a slight increase in the volume by time profile. What happens? It breaks down. I get all out of that position. It puts this spike in, and then I gave it the double bird. I'm like, yeah, right. You're not getting me on this time, and I just go full throttle, pedal to the floor essentially on this. Comes against me 20 cents, but I'm like, that volume is really cooling off. Not today. I am not going to allow this trade to go without me because I had a strong hunch on this breakout. And sure enough, that's why we're fortunate enough, a single entry right there at 4080s, all the way up to 70s there. So not too bad of a look there on IBIT. And I'm sitting on about 10% of a little bit less, about 7.5%, we'll call it, percent of my remaining position. And let's see what else we got. I got my eyes on Netflix here. We have SC, I got my eyes on that. That looks like it might potentially break out again today, considering it was tanking at the beginning of the session, full-blown recovery, and then past that earnings print low.
Come on.
Okay, we got a super chat. Vamos.
Oh, no. He's gonna get suspended for the day.
Vamos.
He's gonna get suspended for the day, bro.
Vamos.
He's gonna get suspended for the day. He's gonna get timed out.
For Vamos Brighton.
Because Arsenal's playing Brighton today. This guy's constantly trying to hurt me, bro.
Why are you doing that?
I don't know, man, because he's a City fan. That's why, right? He's competing for the title,
City.
Joey. They're second. They can't seem to catch Arsenal, even though they're close.
Block this guy.
I love him, man. I think he's good times, obviously. Shout out to my man, Adam James.
We love Adam James,
What a
man.
guy,
Where's he at
bro.
now? That's the real question.
That's a good question, man.
guy.
We'll have to keep a lookout there.
This guy's a certified nomad, man.
He's certified, Joey. He got that certification and everything.
Yeah.
It's all official.
Signed and approved.
All right. A couple of attempts today, guys, like right now, at 1:30 on CCH. It didn't cross on both attempts. I'm talking about 2 attempts on the 1-minute chart. If you're looking, of course, at the 5, it's 1 attempt. But here we go again. We've opened up a new bar, 1:30, showing up again. They're selling, and there it goes, Joey, 134 high. We're printing on this one. We're still holding a good amount here, but there's obviously profit taking and or short selling into the 130 area, and here it comes against my position. We're gonna de-risk a little bit here because of the volatility. We're still holding some, and we're looking for the move into my first, big area where I'm going to take profit is 140. So we're just wetting the beak here with some small amounts. And if it goes against my entry now that we've taken a good position on it, we're going to stop out. So here we go. 116, we give it to 115. That means I'm moving up the stop, and we're going to give it about 1 penny worth of room. Let me just adjust my previous stop. Have to do that. Now we're good to go on that. Just want to make sure that it's triggering in the right way. Good. So now we won't lose anything on this trade. I don't want it to lose the 10 EMA. So the reason I moved up my stop there, let me just kind of make the case to you guys. Let's bring it in. CCH. So here's the deal, right? We had this double bottom at 105. So when I got in at 115, I said, look, this is the area where it obviously showed support. You get 2 candles on the 5-minute chart that use that as defense. And then previously, it was a very obvious level of resistance. I'm talking, of course, about the implied balance high at 950, the high of which was 109, but look where the closing print was, 105. So I said to myself, clearly 105, an important level, both over here as resistance and over here as support. Put your stop below that, fine. Then we take out the high into 134. If it loses the 10 EMA, which is like a couple of pennies below my entry, is that the move for me, given that it broke out? So I'm moving up the stop to shadow that, and if it ends up holding the 10 EMA here and I get wicked out, I can always get back in. So CCHH, in focus. There are others. GOSS, GOSS, not a big percentage, or sorry, not a big volume one on the day. Let me just change MobX to GOSS because it doesn't update. Up only about 14%, and it's still, dilly-dallying at that 53 penny area. Not a whole lot of volume for a name that's 50 pennies. 10.8 million shares on the day, and it looks like it did the majority of the move in the regular trading hours as opposed to anything in the pre. It had a good day yesterday, so this is an obvious second day continuation. Let's see if it's a third. Well, it's been trending. Let's go to the 15 on this monster. Oh, wow, we're coming from way, way, way higher. So something obviously happened on the 23rd of February, and now we're kind of caught in a range. We're covering a little bit. This thing's coming from like $2, guys, and it obviously has lost the dollar. Depending on how long, it stays below the dollar. They may get that pesky letter, Joey Opsh, from the exchange. We all know about that. And down goes CCH, so we get stopped out of the remaining amount there, coming into 113. So a bit of a tougher, no continuation on that, but we don't lose anything on this trade. It's entirely profitable. Now, watching here, Joey, 112 to basically, I'm going to say 112 to 108. 10 EMI on the 5, $1.12. VWAP, 108. If it catches another bid, I can get back in. What do you got?
All right, man. Nice shit. Nice stuff there. Shout out to FKJ and Masego Tadao. If those who know that song know. All right, guys. So about 15 consecutive minutes here in selling in Bitcoin. Let's see if we can get this move a little bit higher. So hello, Joseph. What are you thinking with the TQs? Asked David. Well, if I were to read this here, what I wrote down, I probably wouldn't have a job after. So I'm not going to repeat exactly what I wrote down. Again, it's a strong session. For me, just the past couple of days, it hasn't been a good trader for me. So with that, I just put it on the side burner for now. And then there'll be other opportunities when it comes in play. There is an inverted hammer candle right here on the 5-minute. You can see it on the Qs. And then we're starting to get a pullback. This is going to be a neckline. Who knows? You may get that break and head right into the volume-weighted average price. It depends how those other big boys are doing. What are they up to? Are they climbing higher? Is it just a pullback for them? And then does it look like a continuation in trend? So I'll say it again. Even though I sound like a broken record all the time, just keep your eye on the Mag 7 when you are trading the TQQQs or the Qs, and especially NVDA, right? NVDA, Apple, and Google hold a lot of weight in the overall market, and they can really drive where this thing and the underlying is going to potentially go. So focus on those three. Michael, Philip, D, Ryder, what's up, man? Zen Zombie, our good friend Zen, very zen all the time, very nice in the chat. Not some other individuals. We're not going to name them because we don't single people out around here. Now, do we, Sharif? Now, what was that name that he was asking us to look for? ASNS. ASNS. It's not fun to be signaled out, Sharif. We don't like doing that. We like including as many people as we possibly can, my brother.
Absolutely, man.
All right? I mean, yeah, we don't accept anybody around these neck of the woods either. All right. And all positivity, right? We don't want bad people around there or anything like that. Okay, let's see what we got here going on. Telus Networks, no idea, or have I ever heard of this company? Strong moving with the overall market, but this is what you want to see: 20 cents all the way up to 60. That's a 3x popper, just like that on today's session. A little bit north of that, so not too bad on this. If the volume continues, then maybe that breakout will be sustained. It's the exact same thing on the breakout here on IBIT. What made me stick to my guns? Volume really kicked in. Boom. Push to the top side. All right, let's get involved and see if this trend is going to continue. And in my notes, I said this is going to take multiple attempts to get going because that's how Bitcoin is. It trades such in a wide variance that you're going to need to be patient on that one.
All right, I'm in MSTU, okay? We're risking very little based upon my entry. I didn't get the best price. My calculator is good, but it's kind of taking some time to get through the entire calculation thing. So I'm gonna have to streamline it a little bit. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that because I'm missing my entries by a couple of pennies, and that's affecting my risk. So we're in at 28. I'm looking for another possible move here. I see the downtrend, the unbroken lower high downtrend, but we're not risking a whole lot. 1055 is the candle high or the intraday high, 636. Then you have lower high at 11, lower high at 1105. You breach the previous area high at 1110, but it ends up being red. And here we are again holding the 10 EMA on the 5 at the 1115 candle on MSTU. Let's see if this ends up being a more prolonged pullback. CONL is going. So I'm looking at some of these leveraged ETFs, of course, with the crypto strength on the day. So CONL, this one's holding up, and it breached prior bar high and about 4 pennies away from that 1059 high of the day. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I realize they're not small cap gappers, but we're going to trade them like such and keep an eye on these levels. CCHH, breaking down here. So I'm happy with my out. That's the topping till candle into 134. Now we're really losing the bid into 110. VWAP, which I won't have a resting order at, is around 108. I'm going to be watching that 105 area. I realize that that's below VWAP, but we made the point already in our previous analysis that there was a double bottom into 105 as support and previously used as resistance. So it holds up there. I'm game. We're going to have to keep an eye on this, though. MSTU, though, does look like it is now suffering from a downtrend. So we're going to have to see if it breaches prior bar low. That's where I get out, and here it comes into 21. So we will get stopped out on this one if it continues moving down below 18. We're keeping an eye as well on AIFF. Shout out to Adam James. He brought this to my attention. It's below VWAP right now, and it's got that unbroken downtrend. So I personally would want that trend line to break and break quite decisively before I weasel in into this one. I'd like, you know, another move maybe into 120, maybe a little bit higher, but a decisive green candle to close red, or sorry, close green, and then a possible continuation into the high. So that's what I'm looking for on AIFF. I don't have anything to do on it now. GOSS though, this is setting up quite nice, and it's been a few candles now where the 10 EMA on the 5 hasn't even shown up. So this might be one of those flat top breaks. We don't have an animation for that, but that's fine. Here's what I'm looking at, guys. There seems to be a seller in and around 54-ish pennies, right? What I do like about this, though, is the very obvious higher low pattern. Whether or not it continues in that fashion, we'll have to wait and see. But this one is setting up as an ascending wedge breakout with a general 54 penny area resistance. So I'm resistance. I'm looking for that resistance, obviously, to break. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on, Joey. What do you got?
All right, good stuff. There goes GitLab, guys, breaking through a key resistance zone right now and heading towards one, I should say, on MSTU.
I stopped out
Yeah, you
of
stopped
MSTU.
it. Yeah. This pullback might be deep, Sharif. I'm looking at kind of Bitcoin right now, seeing what it's up to. But if this thing decides to turn around, you can see that the volume by time profile, we're starting to stair step lower on the 5-minute time frame. So just keep that in mind. If we do have participants starting to step back in, then I wouldn't be surprised if we can formulate like a new high, and if we're really strong, then we'll breach that high and establish a new one. So that's what we got going on there. Got my eyes on Tesla. SE was beautiful for us yesterday as well. We were in a big time battle with that one. I was going to say something else, but I don't know if that's justifiable. But anyways, the TQQQs, IBIT, GitLab, Tesla. Let's go through the Mag 7 right now and see what them dogs are up to. Considering I haven't even really been paying attention to them. Katina Man was trading NVDA this morning. Nice work there, my friend. Head over to our watch list. Apple, how are you performing? Another consolidative session. It did eventually break out or come back towards this mean, but essentially a little tougher of a trade, considering we do nothing for quite some time. Moving forward, Softy, how have you been doing? All right, same narrative. Pretty messy, but watch out. If this doesn't become a false breakout and you punch through these resistance zones and you see the volume really start to pick up, then sure enough, you can get a nice move. And what is that going to do to the Nasdaq? Drag it higher, you guessed it. And now as for NVDA, hovering around the volume weighted average price. So this is why I'm not really involved in these names. There's other movers, things that are moving significantly more clean, right? Like Bitcoin was cleaner earlier this morning. GitLab isn't horrible right now. The Nasdaq wasn't bad, but this is a lot of chop in my opinion, and I want no part of that. Look at Google, same narrative. Tesla, a little bit cleaner, so maybe this is what drove the market slightly higher, and then also Meta as well. So those are a couple of clean names. The top 4 participants, not good. Wow, look at GTLB go as it is really breaking out, and you guessed it, the volume kicking in. This is exactly what you want to see in a breakout, guys. That's a strong signal. If you positioned yourself at the lower end of the consolidation, that's when you can really increase your risk to reward ratio.
All right, we're in Goss here. We're looking for the continuation above 54 2/3 pennies. But Amir bringing, I'm just reading Darwin's thing. The company announced it signed a commercial agreement with TELUS to bring space-based cellular. You know, Darwin, that TELUS has actually signed up with Starlink. Remember I was talking about that when I went to Aruba on one of the carriers here, the airline carriers called WestJet. They advertise it as TELUS, but I'm like, TELUS doesn't have that kind of thing. So I did a little search there and looked like they were actually using Starlink. So interesting that they're actually diversifying up their game, but good call on that, the OG Darwin. Gemi, says Amir. Interesting look. This is obviously Gemini space station, which is moving up with the entire crypto industry, of course. It is sub $1 billion, right? It's about 944. Yeah, brother. That's what I look. I'm probably not going to fly anything other than airlines with Starlink. It is a game changer because you can just basically zone out for the entire flight. You're on YouTube.
You gotta do the raw flight, man. Just stare at the seat.
Yeah.
You hear people doing that for a while, like no electronics, nothing, just stare at the back of the seat for 4 hours.
Why would I want to do that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, you can just shut off, you can get off it. Yeah, you know, like say you did it.
I don't know. I don't know, bro. I'm good.
You know what I mean?
With the iPad there, and then we just.
It's not bad though. It gives you like some time to shut off if you bring a book, like 4-hour flight. You know what I mean?
I respect that. I'm not saying it's bad, but I like Starlink, man. It was good. So Gemi's is a good look here, Amir. It's above the 10 EMA on the 5. It's kind of light on volume, though, man. It is. Gemi got 1.61 million shares, $8 name at about 11:30, and you can kind of just look at the chart. It's lightly traded. In any event, it's setting up. I like that 790-ish area for a hold at the 10 EMA. It's dancing right now with 823 high. It has broken that lower high downtrend with this candle and then this candle. So the 1115 and the 1120 candle breaking trend. You could risk very little here, Amir. You could do one of two things. You could give it to prior bar low, right, which takes you down to 796, or you could give it to current bar low. We just opened a new 5-minute candle. The prior bar low now is 799. I wouldn't give it to 799. It's a little bit, tight there with this doji candle basically being a candle of indecision. It opened and closed at exactly the same price, hence why it's yellow. We'll talk more about that and Goss when we get back from Midday.
More in Iran. I'm seeing reports here from state media, Iran saying that they've targeted more than 10 vessels, including oil tankers. So again, more kind of oil news on watch here. This is just the market. We'll pull up CVX, XOMC moving not too much here, but again, continued tensions here in the Middle East. More headlines coming out of Iran. Back to you.
Yeah, everybody can catch smoke there, apparently.
Yeah, man.
Anybody can catch smoke. You got beef with us. You don't have beef with us. Historical hatred. Nothing. Everybody's catching hands. You want to come through the Strait of Hormuz? You're going to catch hands. I don't think that's a tenable situation, not way to endear your cause to the world, quite frankly.
It's definitely not, obviously, but they're just saying they don't come around this neck of the woods. Otherwise, you're going to, there's going to be lead flying around.
That's going to be lead. Yeah, there's probably a little bit more than
metal
lead there,
and lead. Yeah.
But there it is. There goes Goss. All right, close to 55, 54.89. The continuation is on. I don't know if you can really confidently say it's a flat top break because that candle at 10:55 did take us higher and then it ended up closing red. Couple of beak wetters, very large position on this because we're using tight risk management and we're looking for the move. Let's see, maybe we can get into the 2/3 of a dollar. There's 55. It doesn't print because we didn't cross, but we're continuing to watch Goss here, Joey Opsh, and we'll see what this one does. Shout out to my man Florida. Florida man transplant. Sharif, can you look at GW? Say less. You like how it went quiet there?
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with a moment of silence here and there.
All right, here's GW. What the hell is this?
Black. What the?
GW. I don't know what you mean to New York. That's greasy wool. And trades on the SNFE. I don't know what that is, bro. Tag me again with the ticker. AIFF, I see it. AIFF says, Adam James says AIFF's back at VWAP. Yes, it is. So what I'm looking for, Adam, you're already kind of getting it. You're getting that trend line break. I'm going to need to see a bit more. I don't mind waiting till $1.20 in and around that area just so that I know that downtrend kind of has broken. That obviously gives me a worse price. I'm fine with taking that. That's going to factor into my risk. But what I'm looking for here is a decided downtrend break and an attempt to try to take out that 139 high. Fluffy.
What's Fluffsters up to?
I love Fluffsters. BTOG. Let's have a look. What do we got with that? Light on volume though, Fluffy. Let's have a look over here. What do we got with this one? We're getting a topping tail candle again on Goss. $4.4 million market cap, 157,000 shares. It's a respectable move though, Fluffy. 28, 29%. The volume bars though, a lot to be desired on. This is the 5-minute. And this volume bar that we're on right now, Fluffy, 7,392 shares. The one prior, just to give you an example, 3,444. The one before that, 5,800. So it's a little light, but I'm going to keep my eye on it because it definitely has a good looking pattern there. My bad, he meant BW. Shout out to New York. Let's take a quick look at BW. All right. Yeah, it's making an attempt back at VWAP, south of VWAP, trying to reclaim 10. I'd feel a lot better, though, if this one was about above 1040, because this one gave me shades of a flat top break and it failed, right? Because you have that 1043 to 1050 area resistance, and then your ascending wedge looking pattern here with higher lows, and then you fail. So I'd need to see a little bit more on BW, but I see your point coming back into the volume weighted average price, and let's not BS, man. This thing's up 24%. We got to go back to the big desk though with Adara.
A little bit of a drop here in POET, Poet Technologies. This is a name that I know has been brought up in the past as a small cap gapper. Today, though, getting a short report from JCap. I guess this report is called, quote, 19 years of failed experiments. So not a nice look here for POET. JCap not liking this one. Back to you.
All right, Joey, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I mean, there it is. I don't know, man. Everybody just tells me to do it. I'm pretty sure it's like peace or happiness or something along those lines.
Is it?
Who knows these days, man?
Cool.
All I know is that I was watching a video and it had me absolutely cracked up. Well, I pull up CrowdStrike here. I'll tell you a little bit of a story because I love watching memes and I love the internet. I think it's absolutely hilarious at times. So essentially, back in 2019, when everybody was doing the Arudo, our Artuo run and trying to storm Area 51,
I remember that.
Yo, honestly, I laughed at that. And Selena doesn't like my type of humor. I'm like, the dumber it is, the funnier I think it is, to be honest with you. And like people are like running at Area 51 like that. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah, you're really gonna storm. CrowdStrike, let's go. Climbing back higher. That was my story of the day. We don't have anything along those lines or an animation for that one, but there it is. All right, CrowdStrike, not too bad of a look here, guys. 395, reporting earnings. We'll probably talk about that later on today. Trend line to the downside, still fully intact. Same narrative, right? We talked about the move on Netflix. Once that trend line is broken, then there could be a good time to engage. Let's pull up the flicks and see what we got going on here. Off to the races. This thing has been absolutely monstrous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive green, 7 consecutive green sessions if we're going to count this one, which I think we should. Trend line break, and then you get a pretty good move. Like, I mean, you're almost up 20% at the high of the day, right? That's a big time move in the span of a couple of sessions here on Netflix. And I use the same narrative. I'm like, hey, I'm really going to compare this, even though two totally different business models, just the overall market in Wall Street weighing on something because they're in some financial, I'm not going to call it turmoil, but situation. And that's what was going on with the Warner Brothers Discovery. They're in this bidding war with Paramount Skydance, and sure enough, as soon as they're like, hey, we're out of this, we like the deal at a good price. We don't like it at anything higher. And I respect that. And sure enough, look what the stock has done over the past 7 sessions. Adara.
Interesting catalyst here for crypto. I did mention it earlier today, but I mean, we'll just start by looking at the market in general, or the crypto market in general out there. Bitcoin, nice push to the upside. We know we've had these higher lows since making that base in early February. We know we were looking at for some kind of push to the upside, but I mean, nice grab above 73,000 now for BTC. This is going to be its highest level that it's been at since it looks like early February. So roughly 1 month highs for BTC. Ethereum, quite similar. This one also now at roughly 1 month highs, trading around that 2100, 2150 level for Ethereum. So nice look for both of these. Now, one catalyst for crypto, I mean, obviously, overall strength. This has been kind of building from a technical standpoint, but President Trump posting not once, but twice about crypto yesterday. First post came out roughly an hour after the bell, around 5 p.m. President Trump speaking about how the Clarity Act needs to be going through. He doesn't feel like banks have been respecting the Genius Act, and that in order to be the crypto capital of the world and to overpower China, these acts have to be respected and Clarity Act needs to go through. Then a little bit after that, he took a screenshot and shared a screenshot of this post from Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, that was posted actually on January 3rd of 2026, so like over a month-old post. But that post was praising President Trump and his view on crypto. Now, I want to bring up this as well. This infographic I recently reposted. It's on X at TTV Research, but it's kind of a look at how Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana performed both the day and then the week of certain key crypto catalysts. That would be the spot BTF, the spot Bitcoin ETF approval, and the signing of the Genius Act. As you can see, specifically with the signing of the Genius Act, I mean, Ethereum, XRP, Solana all getting massive pumps of 7% or higher. So I bring all this up to say that if we do get the approval of that Clarity Act, if that goes through, that could also be a nice catalyst for these names if you look at historical records. Back to you.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that, Adira. Just taking a look back at Bitcoin here, and we talk about trendline breaks. I don't know if we're out of the water yet. I was saying to Wendy's Tendies, we're still early days. It's good signs of strength. We like that, but you can see the volume really pick up here in this congestion zone. You take those additional legs lower, and then you end up falling into a consolidation and then a previous consolidation, and then you bounce off of it. So around these highs, right? We went into that neck of the woods, and then now we're starting to find somewhat of a rebound. What is going to be a really pivotal moment here, in my opinion, in Bitcoin, if we do happen to get up there, I mean, we're only, what, 10K away, 11K away from this zone, 84,000. How do we react around there? And I'm not saying we're going to get there, but that is going to be a time where I look at my long term, and I'm like, do I buy some more at that $84,000 mark? That's also going to correlate with a prior resistance zone around 85,000 and 84,000. So I think that's going to be a really big moment here in Bitcoin. Moving forward, let's take a look at Ethereum. How has that been performing? Like hot garbage, obviously. Oh. But it's the same narrative, right? Like we're starting to form some key pivots and some areas where we can find if this is going to be an inflection point. So I'm going to be looking at these names. Will I be buying Ethereum over Bitcoin? Most likely not. But a complete turnaround in the crypto space, you need its largest participants to lead the way.
Guys, shout out to Fluffy Hippo. She's like, you want volume? I got one with volume right here. DXST. Good breakout, man, and a nice move on the day, 237%. It is a penny stock, and I really do mean pennies here, with a 28.39 high, but a hell of a breakout. Look at that hold at 16, and essentially kind of like what we've been looking for. These are the A to A plus setups, the prolonged downtrends, and then a clear break with a candle like this, showing that the downtrend is broken, the bulls are back, the shorts are running scared, and there you go, the squeeze into 28. It's going to have to set up again, though. Extended at the highs, prior bar high, 28.31, current bar high, 28.39. So essentially, around the same level. Levels on there are as follows. So prior bar low takes us to 23.50, and then the 10 EMA on the 5, and price action initial resistance, 22 pennies. DXST, the one I'm talking about, keeping a close eye on that. Still holding Goss here, break even, doing nothing. It's holding 54. It was using 54 as resistance. I'm going to see this trade through. It's a tight stop, so we don't lose much if it ends up dropping, but need to be alive to the loss of the 10 EMA. If it loses the 10 EMA, which it hasn't all day, then I probably won't see the entire thing through into my stop because, well, it hadn't lost it all day, and now it's losing it, so that probably doesn't speak well to the trend. Upixi is losing the dollar. It's losing VWAP, so it's going to lose its spot on the side chart momentarily. I looked at MSTU for a possible, breakout or a break of the trend here, and it failed, right? It got that green candle, which ended up not closing at the highs, and then the subsequent candle into 6 1/4, dropping, making a lower high and a lower low. So to me, the downtrend on MSTU is not done yet. What I'm thinking is, though, a better, let's call it a coin, Bitcoin or a crypto adjacent name, obviously, CONL. This seems to have a lot of resistance over here at around 1060. Obviously, it's trading based on coin. So if I was to look at the chart on coin, let's see where it is on coin, where that top is. It's 210. So 209.88 seems to be where that is the high of the day, but it seems to be like a 210 flat top break candidate here with a bunch of higher lows and most notably holding the 10 EMA on the 5. So COIN, we're going to trade CONL. As a proxy, we're going to keep an eye out on this one. I don't know if I want to take the fills at the 10 EMA or to base my entry on prior bar low, only because there's been a bunch of different breaches of that. Take into consideration the 1125 candle closes green, the 1130 candle closes decidedly green, right? Closes at the high. But look at that, on the way to closing at the high, it actually breached prior bar low. So a bit of a nuance there. So keep an eye out on that. And there is what's it called? Goss losing the 10 EMA on the 5. It's at 54. It says here. Let's see, it's 53.5, but It's getting bought up, so I'm keeping an eye on this one. I don't want to paper hand this trade, but that's the first time I think it's actually wicked below the 10 EMA on the 5. So we're going to keep a close eye here on GOSS, but right now it is not looking good. What I do want to set up is something on CONL for that 210 break on coin. That's the other one I'm looking for. And then I forgot to mention this one. Sorry, somebody gave me this one. Also a big mover on the day in the world of penny stocks here at 54 1/3 pennies with a 73 1/3 area high. But since that time, it has just been all downtrend. It's trying to find some support at around 55 to 54, which does make sense because that was the pre-market high that we kind of rejected very early on. I want to say at around 6 a.m. If this one gets back above, man, and starts, putting in some higher highs and higher lows, we'll get involved. But this is not exactly a glowing endorsement here on ASNS, Joey, for a long, despite the fact that it's up 190%. Here comes AIFF, though. This could be it. All right, Adam, it's breaking trend, and I wanted something above 120. I'm going to send it to you because I have to execute.
Yeah, execute on that one. That's a good trend break there, my brother. All right, man. Let's see what else we got going on here. We got the same narrative sitting in this trade. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's just a solid one. Continue man with 2 names on today's session. Maybe with just this single one here. UNH, my boy Gorev talking about this. Looks like we could break through this resistance zone. If you get an open above that, you might be off to the races and start entering this gap here to the downside. So that downside gap could start getting filled. But first things first, open up above this range, and then maybe you can start to rock and roll on that front, okay? A nice steady grind back up to 41.59 as the market is almost at the high of the day. Let's see how we react. What is that going to mean? Yes, we are going to go back to our big boys. We'll see what SPY's up to on the daily. Still stuck in this consolidative range. I'm not convinced just yet, but again, what do essentially... I know, we can continue to climb higher. There's been a lot of negative things floating around, and the market's still holding up relatively strong, so that's some positive signs for sure. There's the Nasdaq, looking towards to break this high. Well, are we going to? Apple's continuing to climb higher. Microsoft, it broke out through that range. Man. Did the volume kick in? Not necessarily, but it's not looking horrible right now. Let's head over to the lower time frames to see if we can see anything definitive. Nothing really, but nice, steady volume, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if this does fail, but on this current trajectory, it doesn't look like that's necessarily going to be the case. Moving forward, what is NVDA doing? It's heading towards a key high, but there is lower highs being formed right there, so somewhat of a downtrend. You can see it more definitively on the lower time frame. This breaks, you sit on the backside, maybe you get a test of that 183 mark. Amazon, how you doing? Bull flag, good stuff and good talk. Now moving forward with goggles, how are you performing? Not bad whatsoever. With that being said, let's head over to our options chain and see what the king of the chips is up to. An inference, we'll call him the king of inference. All right, 2 days till expiration. Where do we have a supply zone? 185 and then 187. There's a lot at 190. So am I thinking that we're going to breach 190 on this week? No. Could it break? Absolutely. But if we hover below, we had multiple occasions where we were looking at high concentrations of positive gamma, high levels of open interest. And on every single one over the past couple of weeks that we said, hey, we're going to close, whether it was on silver, the Nasdaq, and I believe on NVDA after its earnings report, those high levels of those resistance and those concentrations, we closed below them. Why? Because there's a lot of options writing on the opposite side. Same thing when you're buying equities. When you buy a call, there's someone on the opposite end of that trade, and the chances are it's the larger participants, okay? So take that into consideration, and the market makers as well. So if we breach 190, what may happen is we might see those contracts roll over to a higher strike on the next expiration cycle, okay? So keep an eye out on 190 here. New high of the day, the TQQQs and the Qs. Adara.
Intel potentially at some kind of investor event. Either way, I'm getting commentary coming from CFO of Intel, David Zinsner, saying that CEO Lip-Bu Tan has, quote, opened up a lot of data to partners, which is helping them improve their yields on new manufacturing tech. Also saying that the CPU market is going to be growing meaningfully in 2026, specifically with regards to servers, and also saying that Lip-Bu Tan's recognizing the 18A manufacturing technology as a good node to offer to external customers as well. So again, comments coming from Intel CFO David Zinsner. Back to you.
NEO's breaking out, guys. I'm seeing NEO on the move here, 6.5%. Thank you, Zen Zombie, for that. Somebody said NEO. I didn't say it, but I see that it is breaking out. Very respectful as well of the 10 EMA on the 5. It looks like it's holding trend quite well. I'm keeping an eye here on a couple of names. One, we're in AIFF at 15, pardon me, and I'm keeping a close eye on DSXT as well as MSTU. Looks like CONL did take out momentarily that 1060 high. It's a 1062 high now, so we'll keep tabs on that. But I really want to get into DXST. I want a better price though. 22.5 is the price I'm looking for there. 22.5, 22 1/3. It's bleeding its own blood now. Really coming down in a hurry. After making that 28.39 candle, prior bar high is the high of the day. Current bar low is what we just got into, 24.20. It's getting bought up. It's not quite making it down into 22 2/3, 23. I could front run this by a penny or so, but I want to see exactly what happens here because that's a bit of a prolonged, I don't want to say prolonged pullback. It was a prolonged breakout, 2-candle pullback. Now we opened up a new one, so the 1145 candle now opened up on the 5. And what I'm looking for here is either, so let's see if we can get something around 22.5. Let's see, let's just allow this to kind of develop a little bit more. Are we still holding up above prior bar high? Yeah, prior bar low, I mean. Yes, we are. So prior bar low, 24.20, current bar low, 24.27. So continuing to watch, obviously got a lower high, but it doesn't have a lower low. 22.5 is a 10 EMA. I'd have to give this probably to around 20 if I was to get in. So let's see what the risk calculator says about this. Go ahead. What's it saying? All right. So we're going to say if we get in at 22.5, right? And then I'd have to give it to 20, so say 19.5, right? All right, so that's fine. We can get in for that. Let's see. Let's set it up, though. So what did I say? I said 22.5, right? So that takes me to that. And then what we could do is set it up here, right? 22. I put a little bit higher, 22. Let's just say 88, just so we can catch that in case it does, continue to bleed here. All right, we're going to execute that. Let's see if it comes in. So we're pretty close to getting filled here. We will have to risk to 20. So let's continue to watch here see what this one's up to. Nothing for me to do quite yet, guys. Just watching here, DSXT, here it comes, very close to my entry. It's at 23. There's a buyer at 23 here, and it looks like he's keeping this up. So I'm at a little bit higher than 22.5, right? I put my order a little bit higher than that, so it didn't get filled quite yet. So we'll keep an eye out on that, Joey. See if we get filled. I'm also keeping an eye on MSTU. It's putting in higher lows, but it still hasn't kind of broken above that downtrend line. All right, now we got filled, okay? For our shares here on DSXT, what do we got? We got 23 on the dot. There is 23.5. Let's see if we can kind of pump up a little bit. We've got a lot of shares on this one, so we're going to see if we can kind of catch a couple of nice moves into some key levels over here, Joey. Show them what you got.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We got that for shout. Yo, Brian, how did you know? Did you get just by the tone of my voice, the way I said it? Yeah, that's exactly what we got going on right now. Other than that, guys, we're just relaxing. We're going to see if we can get a new high, a breach of 41.70, and then we're going to add a little bit more, we're going to take a little bit more off of our position. Good add opportunity at 41.20. We didn't really take advantage of it, but that's okay. Would have moved my average up. I'm only sitting on about 5% of my position. Yeah, exactly. So I know you're a Blink fan. That's crazy. I'm glad that you listen. We love Blink around these neck of the woods. You like Blink 182?
I do, man.
All right, man.
I haven't listened to them in a while, but
yeah,
yes, I do.
love pulling those old things back. There goes Tesla, guys. A nice little breakout here around those highs. Key resistance zone at 405. Now we're trading up to 406.20. You know what that means? We're going to look for that next level of resistance. And I honestly didn't see too much. I think I brought an options contract to you guys the other day where I didn't see really too much up until 425. That's really starting to cool off. Oh, we want to go to this expiration cycle. So 425 is where you really see that next level of a high concentration. 420, just a typical number that always does, and then 415, and I don't think that's substantial in my opinion. Excuse me. Moving forward, let's take a look at goggles. Doesn't always have the most options activity, considering we're gonna head over to the 6 expiration cycle, a little concentration through 312, 315. So that might have a little bit more weighting to it. So we'll keep an eye out on that one there. Now, if there's anything specific that you guys wanna go through, I'm sitting in this IBIT trade. 4160 is where we're currently trading at right now. I'm in from 4080, so not too bad whatsoever. I'm curious to how Neil's rating that chicken. That's coming up momentarily, 10 minutes. Never mind the trading. It's about the lunch and it's about the ratings these days. And on Wednesday, it is Wednesday, hump day, so not too bad. We'll make sure we hit the gym, get our exercises in after. Make sure you guys do the exact same thing. But other than that, Sharif, we're chilling. I'm not gonna piece anything out just yet. Want to wait for that breach. There's no point in me taking some off. I did this transaction for the folks back home, aka you guys, just so we can get a general idea of where I was currently sitting in on this long. Breaking it down, for those who are coming in a little bit late, attempt number 1, fail. Attempt number 2, with the ad at a higher price, fail. But attempt number 3, you know what they say, the third time's to be,
the charm.
Is the charm. So there it is, IBIT up 7.5%. Now we got Rooster going on. Shout out to Allison Chains.
Oh, that's
You like that
big.
song?
I don't know it, to be honest with you. I'm just keeping an eye, guys, here on DSXT, AIFF, and then ASNS has also broken out. Sorry, Joe, I was just concentrating. Keeping an eye here because ASNS had a great looking candle off the volume weighted average price. It broke the downtrend. I'm talking about this candle right here, and but is having trouble with 60 right now. It's 58 3/4. I'm watching that. Let's see if I can kind of adjust my risk here a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to focus on that 60 penny break. So we'll say we'll get in at, okay, right there. We'll say 61 pennies, right? And then I'll have to give it to 54 because that's what it's above. So perfect. So then we can just set that up for that many shares. And we'll say, look, breakout level at 61. And we'll go long, let's just say 61.5. for that many shares. Let's see if it comes in. It obviously hasn't. But there goes DXST, taking out all my orders there. Nice move. And we got shares on this one from 22.88 into 26 and change. This one could be on the move here, guys. Let's see if we can kind of weasel up a little bit more. Here's my trade on this one. So we're in at 22.5. My 2R on this is 29, and my 3R is 32. Continuing to watch here as we get into 27-ish. I want to say we're finding a little bit of resistance here at 27. High of the day, 28.39. Continuing to watch, looking for a bigger move. Again, looking for 2R at 29 and 3R at 32. So we're going to put a sizable order here for our 2R, and that goes right at 29. So we go sell. Limit price, 29. We'll put that order there. That obviously necessitates a high of day break. Sharif should short Arsenal. I hate you, BD Gaming. I hate you.
Oh.
No, man. Dude, I got to tell you, if I was a betting man, and I don't bet ever, really, except with Joey and when he takes my money. But I got to tell you, I complained about this before, man. Arsenal looks like a different team. They're not the same team that started out the season, not the same team that was playing mid-year. And I don't know who the hell these people are all of a sudden, but it's hard to watch. And yeah, I've been suffering, guys. I've been suffering. It's been tough, Joey. It's been tough. Yeah. But we're going to continue to stay true. I've been a fan since my second year in England. That is 2008. That's almost 2 decades. In 2 years, it'll be 20 years. And, you don't change. I mean, I don't change, right? I like the Cowboys from 95. I like Arsenal from 2008. And that's kind of how it goes, right?
I only had one true sports love, and they just continuously.
Yeah, well, we know. You don't even watch them anymore, though.
I don't.
Joey?
I can't.
That's okay. The season is long and takes a toll on them. I know, brother. They're in 4 tournaments, says Gorev. Year over year, your team is progressing really well. Brother, someone who's finished runner-up 3 years in a row just doesn't want to hear that. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, Gorev. because I know that your team obviously high expectations for Liverpool, goes without saying. Cop says Rhino Day. Yeah, maybe it is. JC Money, didn't you get some jeans at a... Yeah, I did. I just didn't want to dunk on him there. But yeah, I did. Your boy got some jeans.
What do you mean?
I got some jeans, my guy. Well, I didn't actually get any jeans, which is funny, but I used the money, right? Straight to the account.
Straight jeans and fitted?
Oh, well, you know what we're doing these days.
In a white t-shirt?
You know what we're doing these days. We're wearing the straight leg. There goes DXST into 27, 28.39 the high, holding shares, wetting the beak just along the way, just very, very little, holding much more, the majority of the position than we are taking out. MSTU is about to trigger my order as it's breaking out. Where the hell did I put my order on MSTU? I have a resting order there for the breakout. Show yourself. Oh, no, I took that off. It was it was ASNS. That's the one.
Way to wait for that pullback, though, on that.
Yeah. Well, that was the 10 EMA, Joseph Options. I'm looking for a move into 29, though. That's where we have the big order waiting there. That's that red line right there. That's what we're waiting for. Guys, I said very little as well about AIFF, but this one's holding up above VWAP. And it breached the downtrend, and I'm looking for more, guys. We're looking to wet the beak at 27, and we'll see what we get here. Let me tell you something else, though. Now that we've entered on DSXT, if it loses 24 pennies or 23, let's say, and 4/5, your boy's gone Zeno. All right? We're gonna stop out on that because that's a 10 EMA on the 5, and I don't want the 10 EMA on the 5 breach. Prior bar low on DXST, 23.97. Prior bar high, 27.25. Looking for a move into 29, as I mentioned. Fluffy. As a girl who grew up in Dallas, I gave up on my boys. Couldn't be let down so hard anymore, and I am so much happier now. I know, I just can't let go.
Well, and what Fluff say? As a girl growing up in Dallas, I gave up on my boys. Couldn't be let down so hard anymore. So I'm
I don't blame her.
Yeah, I mean, like
I just can't let go. I don't flip-flop.
No,
I just can't.
I wouldn't call it flip-flopping, man.
Yeah. You like him yesterday, you don't like him today. Like to me, I respect her, what she's doing there. She's obviously buying peace of mind for herself, and all the power to you, Fluff. I don't know, man. I'm just a stubborn guy.
I think there has to be something equal in return. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I respect that. I've gotten nothing, Joey, since 93.
I mean? So you see how that relationship...
Since 95, I should say.
See how the relationship
I've gotten nothing.
Slightly lopsided, you know what I mean? You
it is slightly lopsided.
We got to work in. All right, we can say... Maracas, shout out to, I know, Timmy C. I know Adair likes Timmy C. Maracas, shout out to the planet, even...
Go 23,
Dune part 2 and 1.
Yeah, let's go with that Oscar, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Okay, but he missed out. Didn't he lose to one battle after another?
Well, no, I mean the Oscars haven't happened yet, so we have time on that.
I don't know I don't know the difference between the Grammys or the Oscars.
Oh no, so the Oscars are just like the biggest one.
Yeah.
And last year he famously lost to Adrian Brody, but this year he's got a shot. Let's take it, Timmy.
Okay, let's go. Let's take it home, Timmy. To be honest with you, like. What was that Marty Supreme? It was okay. Like, I'm not going to be like, hey, this is an award-winning movie or anything along those lines. I personally like the Dune series. Dune is some good stuff over there. Let's see if we can get...
Is that like I thought you said Dune.
They did the remake.
Yeah,
not Doom, like the Marvel
about
Doom.
that.
You got He-Man coming out there.
He-Man.
So,
yeah, well, apparently they've remade it, so...
So you're not going to get anything on that.
I'm sure it'll be great.
Let's go, man. Let's see if we can catch this high. A nice consolidation. Let's see if we can get that break. We keep knocking on the door, 41.65. So other than that, until we breach that, we're not going to piece anything else. Hangry Ref Dune is sick, but Zendaya is a worse actor. We
know your affinity for Zendaya.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I do like Zendaya, man.
I know you do.
I take offense to that, Hangry. No, obviously, joking. But
is she a good actress?
She's not bad, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think she's a bad actress.
Wasn't she was on Disney Channel, right? Is that like where she made her?
Maybe,
I have no idea,
I don't know.
brother.
I know. Let's see what it did, because I know you're a cinema buff, but like myself, Miss Stevens, of course, Call Me By Your Name are really good solid Timmy C performances. Dude, Dara, so kind of off topic here, I think that Bones and All is a great movie by Timmy C.
Yeah, you keep trying to get me to watch this one.
It's so good. It's actually so good.
I didn't like his co-star that much in like a different movie I saw her in. I think that's part of it.
Because she's in the escape room. She does like the series
I've seen Escape Room.
Right? She's not like an A-list actor. There it goes, Adara.
Okay.
We're rocking and rolling on IBIT. Let's see if we can take a little bit more off as we head into 4170 there. We waited quite some time for that. Patience hands get paid, and that's what we want to see. 4170 there on IBIT, almost established a new high of the day. If the volume is sustained, look at that volume increase right there, guys. A big time uptick to the top side there in IBIT, now up 7.6%. Can this move be sustained? And we see some more following that and get a breach and a move into 4180s is going to be our next target there.
All right, Joey, I'm just throwing in some stops, my boy. Give me 1 sec over here. How many shares? There we go. We're getting into MSTU again, man. Look, it's breaking trend. I'm going to have to give this a little bit of room. I waited until the downtrend broke.
IBIT just pulled back aggressively right there.
It did, eh?
Yeah.
MSTU broke trend, though, so it's got 1, 2, 3. Well, that one obviously got breached. Let's start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 higher lows, except this doji candle here, I don't know. We'll see. I've given it to current bar low. Let's see what this one has to offer. 636 high. We're going to pack the patience here, but I have moved up my stop on DXST. I want to lock in the profits on this one. If it loses prior bar, then I'm out. And the reason I'm being so conservative about this is still, we're obviously putting in that downtrend. I realize that we're putting in some higher lows, but I'm cognizant of that downtrend, that we really can't breach that aggressively prior bar highs. I'm running out of patience with AIFF. I have a very tight stop on that one, but I am kind of running out of patience on that one. I'm not seeing what I like. It's, bouncing off VWAP, making lower highs, so I don't know how to feel about that one. So we're going to focus on DXST and MSTU. For now, though, we're sending you to Happening Now with Adara, and then Neil has got his lesson of the day.
There's a lot to talk about today, guys. Let's start by looking at this market, which is kind of near these all-time highs here on the day. This is the Nasdaq, and here is the S&P 500. Now, neither of these anywhere near the all-time high, high of day on Monday. We're still removed from that Monday high of day, but recovering nicely from that gap down that we had heading into Tuesday amidst ongoing geopolitical tensions in Iran. These geopolitical tensions are unfortunately still ongoing, but I do have some news and a slightly different note here with the White House. For one, we will get Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt holding a press briefing at 1 p.m. Eastern. For another, White House notice of presidential actions announcing that the White House has submitted its nomination of Kevin Warsh for Fed chair to the Senate. Now, the Senate has previously said they're not going to really be voting for approval unless and until we get a cooling down of these allegations against current Fed Chair Powell. But either way here, looks like Federal Reserve Chair nomination for Kevin Warsh has been sent up to the Senate. Tons of earnings to talk about today. I'll start with one name that I know we haven't discussed too much. And to be fair, as Neil said, it's because the stock didn't do too much, at least initially. But CrowdStrike. FY 2026 earnings year is now done. You can find this infographic with its performance in each quarter of this year on X at TTV Research, but slight beats here for EPS and revenue for CRWV. GTLB was another earnings day one play to watch out for, as was ANF. Tonight after the bell, you'll get Broadcom, AEO, Rigetti, and Webull. We have Intel, though, as well today on watch. Certainly not with earnings, but CFO and briefly former interim co-CEO David Zinsner speaking about Intel, saying that CEO Lip-Bu Tan is on board with maybe using some of the company's nodes for external customers as well as internal customers, also talking about how apparently their capacity is doing quite well, talking about these 18A and their manufacturing processes. Lots of comments being made here on the chip sector specifically, or chip sector generally, and Intel specifically from David Zinsner. I did post a rundown of those comments on X at TTV Research roughly 15 minutes ago, if you want to read these comments from Zinsner in more detail. But in the meantime, we're going to zip over, terrible transition, to our friend Neil, who's going to, talk about his lesson of the day. I was trying to make a better pun there. It's okay. Doesn't always work out, but Neil's lesson always does. Neil.
It doesn't, mine don't, but I thought that was absolutely fine. Why not zip on over to the lesson of the day? It's going to be twofold. One will be a little bit more like directionally, trend related or let's say trade related and looking specifically at like a chart setup. But I wanted to talk about something a little bit different here. and sort of, you heard a lot of talk this morning and something that got said. It's whether you're having a good start to the month or the week or not. I know it's only a couple of days in, but this month is just this 3 days so far, or what a good week. It's been a good week for trading, and I think a lot of people have echoed that sentiment. We've seen a bunch of that in the chat. But I just wanted to make sure of one thing before I get into a specific trade-related lesson. You always need to define, it's really easy to define whether you've had a good day, let's just say. If you're only talking about, say, your P&L, right? Because if you're green, you've had a good day. But a lot of times, the ways in which you will judge yourself on a longer time period can get skewed. Because everybody's style of trade can be so different that you need to know what it looks like for you to have a good week or a good month. And I'll give an example. There's 5 trading days in a week. No, I'll get to the chart later, but this is going to be rambling and ranting for a little bit here. There's 5 trading days in a week. There's effectively 4 weeks in a month, right? So you get like 20, 21, 22 trading days. But if you break it down by those five days in a week, there are lots of traders. I mean, plenty of traders out there who have been successful and consistently who will go 3 days out of 5 green, or maybe 2 days out of 5 green. And you might say to yourself, but what's so great about being up 2 or 3 days out of 5? And it comes down to, well, up has to mean something very specifically. I'm going to use very easy numbers here so it's obvious. If you want to make $100, let's just say, right? And $100 is, let's say it's your daily goal. I don't know. We'll just throw that one out there. But I'm going to preface this. If you're going to set a daily goal of $100, then I'm going to say that you don't want to have losing days of more than 50. So let's call an up day anything that's over $100, and a down day anything that's worse than a $50 loss. But we'll use those numbers exactly. A trader who only has 2 up days in the week, right? That's $200 they've made. Now you've got the other 3 days. Now let's say they have 2 losing days and then 1 flat day. So 1 day where they get nothing done. 2 days where they make $100, 2 days where they lose $50 each. And that trader over 5 days made $100. They're actually up. Despite the fact that there was 50-50 whether they'd be green or red, and then on their other days, they're not making anything. But because they have that good ratio, they're still a positive trader. Now, you could go to the other end of the spectrum and find traders that could have massive one-day wins or massive one-day losses and skew that. But what I'm really getting at is when you're going over your own P&L curve or your own week or your own month, one of the things you should look at is when I have a good month or when I have a good week, what does that look like for me? Do I usually find it, for myself, I tend to be more of the take profit, pretty tight. I have get my ins out. People say you get up too early meal, you have too tight stops. Well, for me, that works out to be insanely consistent. I'm a trader who, typically speaking, if a down day is a day that is half of what my best up day is, I might only have 2 or 3 of them in a month. I'm just keeping it real because I do keep very tight stops. I do tend to be very, very structured, but that's not a style that's normal for everybody. A lot of times you might find yourself, if you're in more of that swinging category, more along the lines of 2 or 3 days out of the week, just over 50% of the time you're going to be green. And if you are in that camp, it becomes really important to understand that ratio, or not the ratio, I guess it is the ratio between the top days and those worst days. It becomes very, very important. You get away with a lot if you can win 4 days out of 5. And another point before I get into a specific trade, you also should try to consider when you're going across your P&L, when you're looking at your P&L, or when you're looking at your month, or when you're looking at your quarter, you should always try to consider like the outliers that you might want to throw out with the noise. I'll use an example. Like we talk about the IPO trade, something which might come like once, a big IPO might come once every couple of months. If I'm looking and judging my intraday trading strategy, I'm throwing that out. I'm not skewing my average with something which doesn't apply to the day-to-day trade is an outlier effect. So you got to be honest about that too as well when you're looking at your strategies. But I also, the very simple lesson I wanted to mention for a specific strategy is something that it goes back to what Sharif is doing with the small cappers, right? And something I talked about, or we talked about it, he talked about it. I know he's only long today. It'd be great if he was in a short, because then I could say directly that he's doing something different. But sort of taking your core strategy and then applying it to different places. Now, in this particular case, he's just taking the core strategy and applying it in both directions. But what it can also mean is take a core setup and apply it to stocks that you don't normally look at as much. And the example I want to use, TPET, and I was rightfully called out for this one this morning, and I used the term called out. It probably wasn't. It was probably someone just asking me about TPET. Why aren't you shorting it today? You were looking for a failure at that stock. But what I want to discuss is, look at the confluence of strategies that's set up here, for ones that you know I like. First, there's an all morning trend break right off at about 8:30, but that's a pre-market. I'm not really much of a pre-market trader, but that's already showing that it can break trend and rally. But look at what's more important. After the open, what does it do? Clean trend break. Oh, but not just that. Not just that. Confluenced with a flat bottom break. With a 2-day low, including the pre-market that day, you get a trend break and a flat bottom break. Oh, and I'll do you one more. It's also a small capper failing the volume weighted average price while making its high in the pre-market. So you've got an established, it's not my strategy, this is something you hear Sharik talk about in the opposite direction. This is something you heard Luis talk about, but it also corresponds with a trend break and a flat bottom break for continuation. That just sets up 3 layers of confluence to become, in my books, actually a technical A+ setup. But you know what? I'm not usually looking at small cappers at the open, much to my chagrin in this particular case. So woe is me. One thing I should be doing is if I see something like this, I've got to go over to it. That was an A+ setup if you're looking short, because not only was it a short here, right off the bat breaking the trend, it's an add on the flat bottom break. So it's like, this is one trade. It's really like 2 trades in one. Like, this is one trade where you're scalped to the low, and then the other one is a breakdown trade. That puts you short the whole way for this gap fill. And you're not going to find, look, let's be real. You're not finding many trades that are going to be better than this, like a 165 short, where you're then jumping back in at a 155 breakdown, let's just say, and then it gets all the way down to $1. Like, you're talking 40% on a move like this. But it comes down to applying a specific set of strategies, an execution strategy, whether it's a charting setup or an indicator, whatever it might be, and then using it somewhere else. Maybe where you're not normally looking. Maybe you don't look at ETFs. Maybe you don't look at the futures. Maybe you don't look at metals. And maybe some of your entry strategies work on these other things. In my particular case, it happened to be this small capper that set up a lot of confluence in the morning, and something that I've got to get back into. We used to trade a little bit more small cappers off of the open, but when the market started providing you with too many bigger names that were always running around, it's something I got away from. But just goes to show, you can take what you have learned and apply it to other types of symbols, whether it's a different asset class or whether it's just something that's small, mid cap, micro cap, whatever it might be. So there's your lesson of the day. I can't really tell you too much about the lunch, because I'll admit, I basically open it up. I haven't touched the salad. I haven't touched the vegetables. I've just eaten 80% of the fried chicken, and I barely touched the noodles. So I can tell you the fried chicken's a 9 out of 10, but I can't really grade anything else that's in the meal because I didn't eat it yet because I just wanted the chicken. I keeps it real. It's just what I do. Good luck, guys.
I love these. You okay? What happened?
I'm all right, man.
What happened,
I don't know,
Joey?
man. 9 out of 10 is perfection. That's tough, man.
Wouldn't that be 10 out of 10?
No, man, that's near perfection, bro.
Yo,
That's
Neil's getting lit up.
First of all, you can't tell me what my scale means. Right?
crazy.
Tell him, Neil.
Perfection is 10 out of 10.
That's near perfection,
Okay?
brother.
9 out of 10 is not perfection. And the way I look at it is once you get above 9, and this is like true in almost anything else, it gets harder to get up to that 10 spot. Think of it like the Richter scale, right? The difference between 9 and 9.2 ain't the difference between 9 and 8.8.
That is.
That's not the way I look at it. Like you've got to be exponentially great to get up into that 10 mode. What is a perfect meal? I don't know, like a really Look, you go to the right farmer's market and get the right apple fritter, that's a 10 out of 10. I've had a couple of those in my time. But I'm not gonna hesitate to give this chicken a 9 because it's delicious, Joe. And I know you don't like a lot of food. That's fair. I keeps it real. You don't have to like it. Actually, one more thing. Look, somebody said, and I'm gonna bring this back to trading too because that's how I do. Somebody said in the chat earlier, you guys were talking about football, and they said football is boring. And then I've seen people in the chat say, oh, you don't make enough. Sometimes we'll be like, oh, why aren't you guys in any positions? And I hear Joe, you say, well, cash is a position and being patient and that kind of thing. The truth of the matter is, this is a big world. There's a lot of styles for trading. There's a lot of different sports that you can enjoy. There's a lot of different hobbies you can enjoy out there. And most of the people I know who are happy are the ones who have a strong sense of what works for them or what they like. And then most of the people I know that don't have that level of confidence or they're just not as happy, is they're always trying to chase what the crowd is. Like they only like things if they're sure everyone else is gonna like them. And they can't really handle it when people, so if football is boring to you, then you like your sport. People tell me baseball is boring all the time. I love baseball.
Right,
I really care
baseball
less
is not boring.
And if you care too much about what other people think, like you're constantly needing that, oh, please approve of me, or whatever it might be, that usually means that, you're probably hurting inside at the end of the day. So one thing, and I love this about the Midday, because you guys will keep it real, and people are like, whatever, I don't like this, I don't like Arsenal, even though you probably shouldn't. And you guys will let that roll right off the sleeve, which I really appreciate. Because even though when you'll back, I know, and this is to Sharif too, Sharif will back some really dogs of teams with the Cowboys and Arsenal, but it doesn't bother him whatsoever if you rag on him like that. And I think that's amazing. And it shouldn't rag on anybody if you trade something that makes money for you and somebody says, oh, you're a penny stock trader, that's not real trading. Oh, that's a loser trade, you're trading this, it's gimmicky. There are no loser trades. There are loser traders, okay? If you make money doing something in trading, as long as you're not breaking a law, then you're a trader, and you're a good trader. And if you're losing money, and you're just mad that everyone else is making money, so you call this style garbage or that, then you're just a hater. And I've seen a lot of those in my time, and it's worse in the markets, because what'll happen is if you're a hater in the markets, you'll close your eyes to trading opportunities that are out there. Because you'd be like, it's not real trading if I trade a small capper. And then you're just closing yourself up to money that can be made. So have an open mind, everybody. I've ranted way too long. I got to get back to my chicken.
Excellent, man. Neil is kind of, I know Neil for his wisdom, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people feel the same way. So if you do feel that way, I want to see the chat littered with ones. I want to see a plethora of ones, because he does this every day, guys, and it's at the same time, and it's consistently wise. I asked him a question one time. I'm like, were you a wise kid, or were you like the kid that kind of got in trouble and stuff? He's like, these are his words, okay? And I kind of don't believe him. He's like, I was a dumbass. I'm like, I think that was probably, you did say that. I swear to you, you said that word for word, Neil. I promise you.
But it's the ones that...
And the thing is, I don't believe him, because typically people who have that sort of wisdom have it throughout their life. You know what I mean? Like that. That's the way I feel about that.
I mean, wisdom is gained over time, I believe.
It is. Oh, I do agree. But some people are blessed with it at a young age.
Yeah,
like take into consideration kids that have to go through advanced sports at a young age. Right? They have to give up a lot when their friends are at the beach, when their friends are at parties, when they're, they dedicate themselves to their craft. That is an element of wisdom, which people are blessed with at a young age and other people are not blessed with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
That's kind of the way I feel about that. Anyway, let's get Brad. We have a huge super chat.
We got a lineup of super chat.
Thank you, bro.
Listen, all right, all right. We'll let Neil have the 9 out of 10 there because he's spitting wisdom. But as far as we'll take that one there, my brother. Hold on, what do you say? Hold on now. All right, mine. It's 12 out of 10 is that profession. That's above and beyond. All right, thank you very much, Satoshi. Not Satoshi Yakamoto, but Satoshi. What's up? Thank you very much for that $2. Those €2, about $7 Canadian probably. Anyways. You can do it. Say thank you with that X sign on $50 super chat. Smackers. Thanks, Neil. Your tip this morning on using last upper candle's high as support on Intel's pullback was gold. Held the calls and sold for 80% profit made. Bang. 1,800 smackers on today. All right, my friend, you're cooking up a solid week. We'll take that 1,800 every day, all day. UFC baby, says Nick Diaz. Let's go. The Diaz brothers would do that little move right there. We're going to continue moving forward. Who else do we got here? We'll give a couple. Tony, we got a lot of ones in the chat there for Neil. Joe Wise Kid says big scalp. Ha 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 ha. Oh, is that a joke? Is that some kind of joke there? You're lucky you're on my good side today, my friend Joe. Tell him be reckless. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was reckless as a kid. I had sports and everything along those lines, but I mean, as a teenager and as I think boys tend to get into a little bit more.
I was a full-fledged dumbass.
Yeah.
Like levels of dumbassery that you probably couldn't even imagine if you tried, brother.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, many different times, but
of course,
it's all over now.
I think it's in the nature of boys too, and then as you get a little bit older, and then you realize, yeah, my parents were always right. Then you tend to become a little bit smarter and not do the things that you were doing before. So I told you guys, your parents are always right. If you think you know more, even to this day, at 33 years young, my grandma's still on my case. Will she ever be off my case? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
And even, I'm not even going to go down that road, Sharif, because you know I can go down a slippery slope. But what is going on the opposite side of things is IBIT up to 4180, 7.5% on today's intraday session. Let's go. One trade today. Oh, no, actually, I took a loss on SE. Small potatoes, small potatoes. And for who was asking me, this is espresso, okay?
Is it a
tried the short, pardon me?
Is it a me espresso?
What's that?
Sabrina Carpenter song, bro. Come on now.
Don't come on me now. Don't come on, bro. Now me with a Sabrina Carpenter song.
Bro, just played on every radio station. Yeah, bro, I know you don't listen to radio anymore.
No, I do every morning.
Do you actually?
102.1.
So then you know.
102.1 there.
What did they play?
Playing that.
Oh, they're playing rock?
They were like all rock.
Oh, yeah. They're not
right?
going to play Sabrina
Or
Carpenter.
we're listening to 98.7, which is Caribbean. So SC, we took a small loss on that one, guys, but that was really small potatoes. Dooley, small potatoes over there. And then sure enough, we don't have much left on IBIT up here, guys. Been a really good trade on today's session. I think we got those. Oh, Joy options, Artemis. Toyota, we bought options for this week. Yeah,
Nah,
man.
you're not going to just gloss over the way he wrote Toyota.
I said Toyota.
Yeah. Toyota. It's a Toyota.
It's TY. Toyota. This week had very high. Today, what do you think about taking stub before earnings? I mean, you know how it goes, right? Like, you have to be prepared to go down with the ship. You can play the straddle, which I think is more or less the route to go. Instead of having a directional bias, you play your straddle. Essentially, you have a long call and a long put, and you just need it to exceed the expected move, essentially, right? So just keep that in mind there, guys, with the options play and earnings, because things can get really bad. And don't forget, you're going to have an increase in implied volatility, and every day after the earnings, that will start to cool, and then you'll just lose IV on the contract.
Good call, Joey. Thanks for the explanation. All right, guys, wow. We had happening now in Neil's Listen of the Day. We did get 2R on DXSTs. It did come into 29. That is the high of the day is 29.50, technically 29.49. It's several lower highs in a row now, though, ever since that candle on the 5 that printed the high of the day. I'm talking about the 29.49. The 12.10 candle is the one I'm specifically talking about there. This one right here, bottom chart of your screen. It's coming into the 10 EMA on the 5, which is 26, a skosh below 26 pennies. I don't think that's where I'm going to have my stop. I'm going to leave it exactly where it is, but if the bottom drops off or I see something I don't like, we'll reassess at the time. But I'm still holding here a good amount of shares here on DSXT. I only took out, I would say, about 40% at that 2R. So we're keeping an eye here on DXST, and we'll see what is good. Now, some may say I'm cruising for a bruising here on AIFF, but I'm back in, okay? The compression pattern here, to me, is what is luring me in. Let me bring it in and kind of articulate why this is a bad trade. I don't know if it's a bad trade. I'm negative, full disclosure, on AIFF. 0 for 2, in fact, on this. We'll see how this one does. So 2R for me on AIFF, given the amount of risk that I've taken, and the shares is 124. So $1.24. So that will necessitate a prior high breach, which rejected, I believe, at 123-ish. Yeah, on 122. Pardon me. So it's going to have to take out this area here, the candle at 1135 and 1140 to print that 124. It's been holding up above the volume weighted average price. It's obviously got higher lows. It seems to be finding a general area of support at the 50 EMA on the 5, not a level I typically use intraday. The 50 for me is when, when you guys are asking me questions about longer term plays. The 50 and the 200, the 50 is red, the 200 is blue, always on my black chart. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on now, hoping that when the more liquid time of the day comes in on AIFF, that we get a nice price spike up. So keeping a close eye on that. But here comes DXST, and it's losing the 10 EMA on the 5. I'm in at 23. I don't really want to give up much more. So here's the deal. We're taking this out here. Pardon me. We're taking out a little bit there, and we're going to hold the piece here. Let's see what this one does. It wants to trend. It wants to trend higher. We'll get involved. Otherwise, we'll stop out. There goes AIFF. Here's 121 now. Let's see. Can we get higher? I'm going to wet the beak ever so slightly here. We're still holding a great majority of the position, Joey. I've got some shares on this one. I'm looking for a move into 124. Yeah, I've got decent amount.
Did you use your calculator?
Yeah, always, always, brother. It's right here, and it's been quite good. It's been quite good. But watching here, 121 high. Let's see if we can price spike up into 124. Recall, we did reject this area high at the 1140 candle on the 5-minute chart, the high of which was 122. So we still and technically have a lower high. That concerns me, of course, especially if we fail to breach it. The likelihood is we probably drop either to VWAP or again into that 50 exponential moving average on the 5, the red line, where it's found support the last couple of times. Continuing to watch here. Let's see if we get a nice price spike up, showing 21s again. I haven't quite seen 22 show up on the tape. That would match the high of this candle. There's 22. There's 23. Can we get a little bit of higher? We're going to just wet the beak here just so for my own insanity. Let's see if we can kind of take out that level. So there it is. Printing 23, looking for a move into 24. That's 2R for me, guys, into 124. So that will make us claim some of the damage that this one has caused on us on the day back, Joey. So I'm going to send it to you here so I can throw out some orders.
Absolutely. Yeah, my guy Brody in the chat. I mean, hands down, like you just seen what I wrote there, Brody. I'll stick with that. There you go, Sharif yesing over there. We'll hit the sirens over there for our guy. Table smacker.
Yeah, bro, that's 2R, man.
Never mind
that's
a
2R,
face
that's
slapper,
good,
a
man.
table smacker over there. But yeah, I can't speak highly enough about it to be honest with you, Brody. And I don't know, for some reason, you could DM me and I can send you a bunch of scripts that will help, that will get you started. And essentially, all I use for the tenure of me being at home, and it just calculates everything for you. Essentially, what Sharif's doing, but implemented into the platform, and you just double-click the chart, and it calculates everything for you. It's absolutely fantastic. I would say DM me on X and I could send it to you, but for some reason, X is asking me for a passcode to enter. So I apologize to everyone. I've seen that. I have a bunch of direct
What is that thing that you make? What did you make?
The calculated fixed. Well, I didn't make it. I just used it.
Oh, okay.
The calculated fixed risk hotkeys.
Okay, got you.
And it's just like partials and everything like that.
That's
so
it.
It just makes everything so much easier and smart routing and everything. So it just hit you with the best gateways. Aside from that, what I was getting at here is essentially.
Can I ask a quick question?
Absolutely.
Is that for our platform or IB?
No, it's not. It's not for IB, but it's for DAS.
It's for DAS. Oh, so
yeah, but you connect your
vis-a-vis IB. Okay, gotcha.
You connect, right? No, I don't have IG or anything like that, my friend. Only X. I'll get that sorted out. For some reason, I don't know why. It's asking me for a password to get into my direct messages. But aside from that,
why is everybody saying MobX?
What is MobX up to? Check margin impact hockey, or what is it? IBKR? No. So I'll break it down for you. I mean, I don't want to beef it up too much anyway. So say we're trading right here. We want to go short. We want our stop up there. Boom. We want to risk X amount of dollars. You double click. Boom. It'll calculate your stop and the amount of shares that you need from point A to point B, have your stop order there, and then have your 2-to-1, 3-to-1, whatever you set the parameter to from a risk to reward ratio, okay? There goes the Nasdaq. I think we might start to see a little bit of a pullback here. A nice move into 50.43, and then now we're getting a nice move lower. But with that being said, we have to see what the lads are up to, and that being Amazon, it's starting to fail its bull flag that we seen it forming earlier today. We'll get to your super chat momentarily, but this downtrend's still fully intact. Okay, what is Apple doing? Oh, Apple's going up. Oh, immediately don't like it for the move lower. What's this doing? Coming off of the highs, but you might get a rebound on that front. And keep an eye on NVDA just in case it wants to break out. Sharif, you got something?
I don't, but I can take over if you need. Yeah.
No, I thought it sounded like you're getting ready to. There goes.
No, I was adjusting. I was trying to short ASNS to see if it was
what you need.
Yeah,
you need to order them,
Joey, because somebody just asked me about Asness over here, and Asness does not look good. Somebody was asking me if Asness was looking good over here, and I was like, this is the exact opposite, man. You come into VWAP, you pop up, you make a lower high, you do a rounded top, and now you're failing VWAP again, and it looks like it wants to drop below that. Let's say this was the candle low, 1130, the low of which is 51 2/3 pennies. It's at 53 right now. It's holding on for dear life. This looks like a screaming short to me with a low of the day of 39 3/4 pennies. So this could be a good move. I mean, if you're going to get in here, I would obviously say, first area is look for the trend continuation. So prior bar high would be your out. If you want to be more risk tolerant, then you're looking at this candle here, the 1145 candle, the high of which is 60 pennies. So if it breaches that, I think it's more of a long than it is a short. But this one looks weak. It looks like it's bleeding its own blood into the $0.50 area, and it could see a lot worse, perhaps $0.33. It's still up a substantial amount in the day, up 174%. Who can complain about that? But locally, it is losing it into 51 pennies now. Looks like the buyers are trying to step in here, or shorts covering as we get into that 1130 candle low 51.67. Prior bar low 51.60. Current bar low 51.66. So we breached this area, not by much, but a breach is a breach, bro. And so this one could be headed down. I haven't decided if I want to short this yet. It does look like a really good candidate, though. Here it is again. It's about to lose 51 pennies. Asness. I had something there, but I can't do it. MobX back over $1, says Chuck of all trades. We'll check in a second. V, Thug, KT, Sharif, been in and out of Asness for years now. Held 11,000 shares at 21 pennies average and sold this morning at 64. My man, way to take the bag there. That's definitely good. You say, yeah, I know. I'm doing it on purpose, Spiro, in case you haven't noticed there, brother. I tend to like to push the boundary. You know what, Joey?
What's that?
You want to know what?
Yeah.
You want to know something? You want to
Where's it
know
going?
something, bro? There it is, into the high, my man.
Bro, you didn't even
Boom!
do it. You didn't even do it.
AIFF, there it goes, and now we're freaking positive on it with size, dude. With size. All right, there it goes, my guy. What a move up here on AIFF. I sniffed this one coming back.
You sniffed
and now
it.
we're
That's crazy.
Here, limit up, guys. We're showing limit up. 137 limit. No, where did the limit up go? I swear it was just at 137. But there it goes. Big breakout on AIFF and big size on this one too. Let's see if it continues. 139 high, Joey.
We're going to Adara.
Okay, let's go.
I'll be brief here. Just a couple more headlines on Iran. I'm trying to wait till I have a couple before I bring them to you guys. But over the last couple of minutes, seeing reports here suggesting that Iran is beginning a shift towards governing for prolonged war. So they're expecting this war to be a little bit longer. We also have comments on Iran from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's saying, quote, we are well on our way to achieving Iran mission objectives. So looks like this Iran conflict is going to continue. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the Iran conflict looks like it's gonna hang out for a little while, Joey.
Yeah.
And I can't say I'm very pleased about that, obviously, but it is what it is. Yeah, we're holding here, guys. We're holding on AIFF. We still have some shares here, man. We're still holding 139 high, 137. The squeeze is on. I have a bias that this one glances at the $0.50. You don't get up into this area and then fail. But hey, let's be honest about it. We're still below the day high, right? The day high is 139, and there it goes, Joseph, taking out the day high. Give me my money, man. How come you're not giving me my money? There we go. There we go. We take out some there. 146 high. We wet the beak at 144. We got 17s on here. Where was my 2x? Oh, I knew where my 2x was. Where's my 3x on this? Give me a second. So price entry was 117. I just have to go back here and look. Let's see quickly over here. Show yourself. There it is. So my 3x on this trade. Wow. We're way past 3x, bro. My 3x was 128. Okay, so we've really taken out 3x here, but there it is. Shout out to my man, Chuck of All Trades. I hope you're in that one as well. Looks like you are, and there it goes, 146 high. We're still holding some pieces here, guys. We're looking for a move a little bit higher. I'm so happy with this calculator, man. This calculator has single-handedly helped me kind of organize my trades in a better way.
And you're going to share it with the folks.
I'm absolutely going to share it, but what I got to do, I mentioned this yesterday, is it's super specific to my computer, so it depends where Python is installed. If you have Python installed in your computer in a different directory than I have on mine, it won't work. What the hell was that? That was hilarious. These guys like, you just got to put the pinky up next time.
I was going towards that.
Anyway, so I'm gonna try to package it, guys, and then we'll put it for the premium subs. We'll also put it for the campus folk. Here we go. Come again. AIFF 146 high. We just flashed 4.5s at 4.3 right now, looking for a move into the $0.50. But you know, let's be honest about it. 146 is essentially the $0.50, so we could reject here. On the lookout for a possible flush here. Do I move up my stop? Yeah, we're gonna move it up to 123. 123 is the breakout high. Here we are into the high of the day again, Joey. We're at 146. I'm posting small size 149. Let's go ahead and post on the other side of that as well. We're gonna go 155. On that bad boy. So we got 149, 155, new high a day, 47s. The squeeze is on. Looks like 48s incoming, 48s there. We need a little bit more for me to get printed. There's 49, but it doesn't cross, so we don't get the print. 49 showing up again. Can we get a little bit higher? No, we're not gonna get a little bit higher here, Joey. 149 high, and it looks like it's topping out there. So we'll pack the patience, see what we can get.
All right, good stuff there, my brother. We'll hit the siren.
Appreciate you, bro.
Nice work. All right, guys. So my boy Spyro is like, hey, if we start going down, what's the best swing short? That's a very vague question. I mean, there's so many vehicles, but I'll tell you the speed.
My money, bro. Give me my damn money.
That's crazy, man. All right. So my boy Spyro, there we go. So my boy Spyro was asking, is like, hey. What's the best swing short? I mean, that's such a vague question. There's so many vehicles. Mic off. We're back on. We're live. Don't worry, guys. We're doing it live. I don't know why that got triggered. But essentially what I was about to get at here, my boy Charlie, ouch, Charlie, he was saying he's short now the TQQs. I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you this for free, this thing at times, in my opinion, is such a frustrating vehicle to short. It's like, okay, yeah, you get this leg down all the way to approximately 50.17, immediate shoot back up, and it's just like, for me, I don't have this time for this tomfoolery, to be honest with you. It's just like, okay, are we gonna break down? And there's so many variables that need to be taken into consideration when you are shorting this name, right? Like, you have to look at the meg. I talk about this time and time again. And if you have Apple continuing to climb higher, then good luck. It's just gonna make things so much more difficult. What's Adam saying there? Anyways, what's up? The Katina Man's back in the building. He's back in the building.
Chicken.
He's got the chicken.
He's got everything going
he went
there.
For the swim there, so everything's looking good and positive.
He's got the mic. He's coming in hot.
He's coming in super hot. I'm gonna catch a shoulder rub right here, hopefully.
Don't get excited there, Joey. Hey,
what's up, Mike?
You're so well centered too, Katina Man, in the chart and in the picture.
You're muted. You're not even on. You're not even tapped on.
How can you tell he's muted?
Well, because Assassino just told me. You're not even tapped in there either.
I'm not tapped in, Katina Man.
I'll have to come back.
How was the swim,
There's
brother?
too much going on here right now.
okay.
He's got to come back, man. That was a little lackluster, but that's all right. We can make up for that.
Yeah.
Dexter. No, come on, chill, man. Aside from that, guys, back to my spiel about the Nasdaq. Like, we have to oh, by the way, sorry, we're all over the place here. To Sharif,
That's okay.
I requested a show for City and Color. There's no up-and-coming shows, so I requested one.
What is that?
City and Color?
I don't know what it is.
Dallas Green, my boy.
What is that? What's going on over there?
Katina, do you know what City of Color is?
City and Color, it's a
City
band.
and Color.
It's a singer.
Good.
I'm
not the only one.
I'm going. I just pop music.
Singer
Like I'm going to Cardi B at the end of the month.
Hey,
You're
actually going to Cardi B?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. At the end of this month?
Yeah, it's March
Nice.
30th.
Really? Can I tell you a story? So one time, like this is years and years ago. So before she was really big, we went to the club during Caravana, and her section was like right beside mine and my friends, and she was partying with us. Yeah.
Is she wild?
Brooklyn represent.
Yeah, she's bad wild.
She used to be a stripper and everything like that. It used to be crazy.
Katina, man, I remember before she like became huge, she used to put out some interesting videos on Snapchat, Katina, man.
Oh, really?
Of her talking about different things in life and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
changes.
I
but
can't listen to that individual talk too long.
No, she's pretty wild.
She's a wild
out
one,
there.
Katina, man.
Apparently she's getting something removed after the after the tour.
Oh.
It starts with a B and ends with an L and has a B in the middle.
Well, there you go.
And
there you go.
In part of South America there. It's weird.
Yeah,
South
she's got to go to Puerto Rico. She's got to go to
The
Puerto
biggest country in South America,
Biggest
Joey. I
country.
think we can all.
She's gotta go to Puerto-
It's where our boy
right
from.
there is from.
Assassino's from.
Oh, Assassino.
The assassin. Katina, man.
The
How was it-
Portuguese
how was
assassin.
The swim, brother? The
it was
weather's
pretty good. It was
amazing,
really
eh?
packed in there. I think with the weather getting better, more and more
Exactly.
people are
That's how it's
starting to show up.
Exactly. What is it, like +5 outside? There you go. The
Check
boys
the
got the watch. It ain't the rollie
But
today,
that's
guys.
It's +5.
+5, exactly.
I don't understand that. My
Yo, I wanted to
boy-
ask you about your hair, my guy.
Yeah, what about it?
How often do you have to shave it?
Oh, every couple of days.
I was gonna ask Neil the same
every
thing.
couple of days, you got to fire it up.
Yeah,
so
too
what
much
I
work.
did is I invested in one of the
Yeah, the
shavers,
handhold?
But then I hit with the blade after. Too,
Yeah, because you always got to go blade, I think.
Yeah. Are you thinking about joining the
No.
squad?
You hit it with the blade
thinking
or
about
the
going to Turkey.
rounded
Round
thing?
thing
The rounded
first,
thing.
and then the blade, right? So
You do both?
yeah. my
Why do
boy.
you do both,
See?
though, if you don't mind my asking?
Closer. Get a cleaner
How
view.
is the trading going? I'm probably going to get kicked off here soon, probably.
No, it was good, Katina, man. We were down on the day, but AIFF, look at that breakout there, Katina, man. That's
Okay.
2R, and that's 3R right there.
Is that Fire? What is that?
AIFF, yeah, that's
AIFF.
used to be a sponsor of ours,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was going to say.
Firefly Neurosciences,
It is Firefly.
Katina, man. It
Okay, I
is,
didn't want
it
to
is.
say. Okay.
Yeah. Firefly
Past sponsor.
Neurosciences.
we just.
people
still
want me to
sitting
leave,
in
or I'd all
no,
leave.
they
I can't-
want
I
you,
can't
man.
see the chat.
They're saying they're looking,
No.
They're saying you're looking like a member of the Beastie Boys
That's
over
right.
there, too.
Sabotage.
Yeah,
you know.
Sabotage.
There's some sick songs.
Dude,
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys?
Still.
Brooklyn. Yeah, exactly.
It was the best
I
growing up.
told
That
you.
was grade 6 and 7 for me, right there.
My first year of college, I went. But me and my boys went as the Beastie Boys.
I mean,
Halloween. Yeah.
Sharif, if I'm not mistaken, you used to do a little bit of breakdancing. my
Just
guy.
a little bit there, Katina, man, a little bit.
You have
but
any old videos of those?
I
like
do.
Okay.
But we got dinged last time for playing it.
Your own video?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
got
of
demonetized
the
last
music.
time.
Yo,
What's that?
Sharif showed his own.
song. Okay.
Sharif showed his own video, then lawyered up
Got dinged.
against his own.
And we couldn't monetize the stream.
Yeah, we had to write Sharif $1,000 check for showing
that's not true.
for
That's
showing
not
his
true.
own
That's
video. I like that move.
I didn't see any of that, man.
Oh, the
Come on,
music.
man.
That would make sense. the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it
All
was
right,
the
man.
music.
Enjoy your lunch.
Thanks for coming
Neil
on,
gave
Katina,
the
man.
fried chicken. Neil gave the chicken a 9.
Okay,
to know-
that was my next question. Oh, I was going to go over there to Neil, and I was going to be like, yo,
said that's
let
a
me
9.
know
That's
if it's any
insane.
good. It looks real good. Neil's, the noodles are no good.
I like the egg noodle or the rice noodles, man. Shout out to
I like the rice
Fabian.
noodles. Okay.
Shout out to Fabian as well too. He says I look like Aegon Targaryen. Fabian, this is a true GOT fan question. So you said I look like Aegon Targaryen, future king, by the way. Does he turn into the Mad King? Yeah, I can't hear you, Fabian. Fabian. Oh, Aegon's grandpa is the Mad King.
Ah, okay.
Oh. So Aegon's grandfather is the Mad King? Oh, okay. I got what you got there. Yeah. I see.
Fabian, I just sent you my breakdancing TikTok videos. Can we possibly set it up without the music this time so we don't get dinged? Appreciate that, Fabian. Thank you. Yeah, Katina, man, let's go.
No, it's a compliment because Aegon becomes a king, right? So if you watched, it's actually the Night of the Nine Kingdoms now. Shout out to Aegon Targaryen.
I have no idea what's happening.
Are you guys talking about Akon? Like
no, Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. All right. There's the SLV trade that I left you guys with right there. If we were here, I'm sure maybe you guys did, but shorting it there, VWAP again. But there it goes. We come back. We punch out a little bit. We put a bid right there at the low of the day for silver. We got it, and then we come back right now and we get it again. So today is going to be a good 2 for 2 day. Still holding on to Nvidia and holding on to silver right there. But all right, I'm going to go try this chicken. Apparently, Neil giving it mad thumbs up.
Good to
Done, Fabian.
Good times there.
Try
You got it there. So yeah, no. So essentially, what Fabian said to me in my ear is that Aegon is the Mad King's grandfather. So a couple generations later. All right. Right back into this market here, guys. We caught $1, Katina man, on IBIT. Surprisingly, up a quarter there, 7 1/4. So a nice little move. Considering it was a slower start on this one. I was thinking about re-engaging to the TQQQs. Charlie, did you get stopped out? I'm curious. What was your stop on the Nasdaq? Because it did liquidity grab north of 50-50 and then now starting to head a little bit lower. So you have to be extremely patient with this one. And I believe that Apple was on the move higher. So it's just going to make things significantly more difficult.
Piece of crap, Apple. I'm worried. Did I mention that I'm worried about Apple?
Dog.
Have I mentioned my thesis about... Well, it's not mine. It's what people are reporting. They're saying the smartphone market's going to get clipped this year.
Because of RAM.
Because of RAM and RAM shortage. It's not just about the prices. You could get it, and then that would eat into margins, but at least you'd be able to deliver the device. Or you could raise prices, which they probably wouldn't do. But in any event, if they can't get their hands on RAM... Now, this is the thing. I don't think Apple would be so short-sighted to not hedge their RAM bets at least a year or a cycle into the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, in the way that airlines hedge their bets with the cost of fuel, with jet fuel, their 6 months, 12 month hedge. And so that's my concern. And I don't know enough. There goes AIFF into a new high of the day at 153. This is really going, guys. What a move here for AIFF, taking out the flat top at 135, the double top, pardon me, and taking out the $0.50. Here we go into 153. We're doing it live right here. We're sending you to a dare.
Iranian state media reporting that Iran's Revolutionary Guards have launched another wave of missile and drone attacks against Israel.
Everybody's muted these days.
I think she's muted. We'll go back to her in a second when she's ready. Oh, AIFF going to halt up here, guys. 159, 160, halt parameter. Showing the halt parameter here, 160, AIFF. We're going to Adair.
Yeah, I'll be brief here, but Iran's Revolutionary Guards, according to Iranian state media, have now launched another wave of missile and drone attacks against Israel. Back to you.
Sia, bro.
She ain't here.
She's in the chat, man. Get it, Sia. Adara, your mic. Sia, relax.
That's
You're not
crazy.
here.
That is crazy.
I love it.
That
It's
is
so funny. I love
crazy.
it. Get it, Sia. Where's she at? She was supposed to be here. Is the video ready, Assassino? This is the windmill, my boy. Let's have a... This is my parents' old house
99.
basement. 99.
I'm 7.
Look at this, Joey. Look at this. Oh, the speed's going to pick up a little bit. I actually have better videos, but I got to go into my parents' stash in order to get them. But there it is, man. That's a windmill. We do the windmill, my boy. We do the windmill there. All right, false halt on AIFF, guys. 163 high, dropping back down into fiver. 55. It's really coming down now. Watch out here for the loss of 50. You had a lot of support. I missed this. This is on me. I got to tell you. Let me make my case to you guys. Look at this double bottom here. This is not by accident on AIFF. These two bottoming tail candles, which lo and behold, end up bouncing off the double top. I should have been more alive to that. I wasn't, and that's on me. I should have been getting back into this trade. What a move here. And it was also supported by the 10 EMA on the 5, these two bottoming tail candles. So yeah, that's a mistake for me there, Joey.
Okay.
Bro, let's see what some people...
Sia is a monster in the chat.
Guys, I am just looking at her. We're not hating on you, Sia. We're just teasing you, girl.
Yeah, we're not.
Drowning in my assignment deadline, Sharif. I will be there tomorrow, hopefully.
Okay.
Yes, get it, Sia. You only have like 4 weeks left, girl, so I know you're going to kill it.
Yeah.
See it through.
I mean, I don't think that was too bad. I think he was, I mean, maybe.
I hate this guy, bro. I hate this guy, man. Adam James, man. We love you, man. We AIFF to 20. It looks like it's going now, Adam. Trying to hold here above the $0.50. AIFF off 124%, 125%, and also off the highs.
Yo,
What's that?
Sia is more of a savage in the chat than me. She'll delete your message without any question.
Oh, yeah. She's got the moderator powers. She's flexing.
It's a boom, boom,
She's
boom.
flexing there, man.
That's hands.
I appreciate all the nice comments there in the chat, guys, man. Ray Gun. I actually have a friend, Tony, who dressed up as Ray Gun for what's it called, Halloween last year. And I didn't even know because they don't have Instagram. And I just ran into him like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, but she's a woman. Like, did people know like what you were dressed up? Everybody knew, man, because he had the hat on. He had the green and yellow, sporting like the Australia, what's it called? Olympic colors. It was a thing. I felt bad for her though, man. People were really hating on her, but she had no skills. So, well, that's her problem. DLXY, check of all trades. Let's have a look.
Were you a better breakdancer than Reagan?
I'd run circles around her. I'd run circles around her, bro. She can't even do the windmill. That's basic stuff. Yeah. Right. DLXY. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think I looked at this one for somebody else. Unbroken downtrend. I was telling somebody else in the chat earlier that this one is a multi-day lower high trend, so it's not exactly appetizing to get into this one. DLXY, the ticker, guys, sorry. Yeah, this is what I mean by the multi-day lower high trend. Look, I think it changes the equation a little bit if we can get it back above the volume weighted average price. We've been using VWAP basically as resistance all day, save and except for two candles, the 5 a.m. candle and the 5:05, and then it quickly lost it in a hurry. Tried to reclaim VWAP, 640, 635, lost it. Now, quite frankly, it started looking like it was using the 50 EMA on the 5, but it's just broken through that. It's at the $0.50 now, and it could move into volume weighted average price. I would need to see a lot more before I worked into DLXY. The reason it's up 81 1/3% is because the breakout was in the aftermarket. So the way my program basically gauges or populates the percentage up or down on the day is from the closing print yesterday. So from 4:01 essentially onwards to today. So if it was moving in the aftermarket, it shows like it's up 82%, even though that was yesterday. That's kind of my my platform's kind of unique thing to it.
It's not even working right now.
Pardon me? Guys, sorry, by the way, no news today. I had the dentist in the morning, so I didn't get the morning note done, and I apologize to everybody for the lack of the morning note, but I was away in the morning, back tomorrow, back on Friday, of course. BDMD looks very good, Grunfeld. It's light on volume. Baird Medical Investment Holdings, $125 million market cap, having done where's the volume? The volume. 2.5 million shares on the day. It's a $3 1/3 name. It is about 10 to 1. So it is a little bit light, but the chart pattern is quite good. And let's just be honest about it, man. There has been very few touches by BDMD into the 10 EMA. Did it once at 10:30 and it immediately retraced above it. Let's take a quick look to see what the spread is on this one. AIFF is not done, guys. This could C2. Seriously, it could C2. It looks like it's going to break out again. Let's look at BDMD though for Grunfeld and see what this one has been up to. It's a 4-penny spread at the moment. Not surprised, given, you know, the lack of volume a little bit. 4 pennies, 33 on the bid, 37 on the ask. I'm just, you know, only observing this for a few seconds. I haven't seen if it opens up wider or narrows down, but in any event, I think that that is separate than the chart pattern, which is a symphony of higher highs and higher lows. So BDMD, not a bad one if you can stomach the spread on this one for a smaller name, and you're, of course, using sound risk management. Let's take a quick look here on BDMD for the OG Grunfeld to see what some key, this is a multi-day breaker. It's been putting in higher lows and higher highs since the 17th of February. This is a really good look. And look at the volume, guys. Bottom right of your screen. See how the volume is clearly higher?
Oh, Retrieve Dawn.
DAWN?
Yeah, it's a bio, though. It's a biofarm.
Yeah, well, then, biofarm, so?
Pharmaceutical. Okay, I didn't know you.
Oh, I don't even care, dog. Yeah, the breakout is the breakout.
On that one.
Yeah. Let's take a quick look. Oh, smack. There's something going on here. There has to be. Okay, let's find out. DAWN, 11, okay, I got 1245. What is this? No, this is probably not it. Oh, okay, 1246 Eastern. Let me open this up so you guys can see it better. I'll zoom it in. Here's what I'm getting here, 1246. Day one, biopharmaceuticals up 11% after rumor highlighted in BATL blog. A rumor regarding day one biopharmaceuticals was highlighted again, okay, so it's not the first time, in Ben Harrington's M&A focused BATL blog, mergers and acquisitions, obviously. Contacts tell the fly. Day one, shares are up $1.09 or 11% to $11.12. That high obviously is different now. It's 11.24. So that is the headline for DAWN. Trade this carefully though, guys, especially these midday breakouts. Here are the levels. So the breakout level, obviously 1045. That was essentially the high of the day before this candle. Sorry, let me throw in the ticker so you guys can follow along. DAWN, easy like the soap. And prior bar high is 1116. Sorry, we opened up a new bar now on the 5. So prior bar high, 1142, prior bar low, 1108, current bar high, 1146, that's 1148, current bar low, 1130. The trend is still going, and it looks like it's gonna break the $0.50. Let's do some TA on a wider time frame to anticipate where we could get rejections. A lot of resistance at 12. Take a look at what we were doing from the 17th, essentially to when we lost that that $11 area on the 25th. $12 could be a bit of a resistance area, and then locally, the high, January 20th, that took us up to 1385, with the closing print being more around 1350. So be on the lookout here, DAWN breaking out midday, Joey.
All right, man, we're on the lookout on DAWN. Also, my good friend Adara was talking about this one here earlier this morning, Applied Digital bull flag breaking out to the top end of the range here, guys. Let's get the volume weighted average price involved in this. We just have to go back in time. You can see we're drastically far from that. I don't know how accurate that is going to be. I feel it'd be a little bit tighter to price, so disregard this right now. But you have these higher lows being formed. And sure enough, we're starting to pick up a little bit of momentum and the volume kicking in here on Applied Digital as it looks like it wants to break out. This thing was on the move for quite some time. It did experience a hefty pullback from $40 all the way down to 25. That's a 40% haircut just like that. So we'll keep an eye on Applied Digital. I was trading it on this nice run up here, but after all this selling and everything, I kind of been phasing away from that right now. So Applied Digital, not a horrible look. We got the 1 and the 5 minute up there for the ladies and the gents. Moving forward, how's CrowdStrike up to 402, baby?
How was the earnings report? I didn't get a chance to read anything.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Yeah, good report. IBIT, again, 4161. How's my boy Robinhood up to on the daily?
Got 140s.
Look at this, bang. 82 smackers on this one with a high of around 83 bucks. There is a key support level right there, guys. Keep an eye out on that one. And this is what I'm talking about. I tried to tag my boy Charlie in the chat, Charlie Taft, but he was nowhere to be found. But it's just really tough to short this, guys. Like, you get that move, bounces right up, and you have to take into consideration those larger participants. Moving forward, how has Ethereum been performing on today's session? Pretty good. I mean, you go from 1540 all the way up to 1630. With a high of around 1637, that's almost $1 right there throughout this whole session. And you very rarely get that in Ethereum. I think it's up north of 10%, maybe, or relatively close on today's intraday session. Moving forward, we had Ondas. We've been talking about that name throughout the week. SoFi, wow, not participating in today's market rally. Okay, that's not the best sign considering we have Robinhood. I know we like to compare the two. Robinhood was up substantially and looking like it wants to potentially continue higher. From our peak, we're down 43%, okay? Now, as for this name, we got a trend line break here, Sharif, in Robinhood. Let's see if this consolidation low holds, and then maybe we can find somewhat of a recovery up into that $100 mark. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We did experience a substantial haircut, and it may take significantly longer to get back up to that mark. But I have the utmost confidence in Glow Up Vlad because he got the haircut and everything, so he just automatically upgraded in my books after that one. So not too bad of a look on Robinhood. Moving forward, SMR down to $12. I know a guy from work, this is ticker is literally a guy from work, so I'm not referring to anybody in the chat. So I remember people, man. People don't forget. But yeah, he was like, hey, Joe, when can we engage in this? And I'm like, let's see if we can get in a little bit lower. Once this $17 mark broke, we got a pop, but then we failed to establish a break of this previous pivot at $23, and then we head all the way down to almost a 50% haircut from that level. We're down substantially from that previous pivot high of 58 all the way down to 13. So that's a 77% haircut there on SMR. How are the ADRs performing? Not the best, but not horrible, 30% right there. That's how they typically are. They go on these monster runs, and then sure enough, you experience these kind of lengthy pullbacks, and that's been the narrative, I think. TKO,
what happened, Joey?
218, just knocking everyone out over here, Sharif. TKO, what a phenomenal stock. Walmart 2.0, man.
Man, Dawn is continuing to go, guys. Really clearing the $0.50 here, 11.77 high. So into the $0.75 it goes. It's up 16.75%. It's a breaking news. It's a midday breakout. The news came in, I believe, at 12:45. That's when my blotter shows it. Let me flip to the 1 minute to see when the market reacted to it. The market reacted at 12:41. So my blotter was 4 minutes late. The breakout came on the 1 minute at 12:41. What a move here. We're going to do the news. So I just took Adira's notes from the morning note and I threw them in, and we're going to work off those. But I see what you're talking about there, Anurag. You were worried that it was going to lose the trend, but I'm talking about AIFF. But look at that hold, man. Look how clean that hold is again at the 10 EMA, now trying to rocket back up above the $0.50. He's still putting in, though, lower lows and lower highs, even though this one has a huge bottoming tail look. AIFF, the one I'm referring to, with a 163 high. Be on the lookout here, man. I mean, if you got in here, you could do several things. One, you could be very, tight about your stop. You could give it to current bar low. We're a skosh below that 10 EMA on the 5, which is currently, I think, showing me 141. Give it to like 139, to really protect yourself. You could also be a bit more aggressive. You could give it to these bar lows over here because there were buyers stepping in at 1235 and 1240. You can just see that through the bottoming tail candles. So you could give it to those as well, which gives you even more support, in my opinion, because you had that as a resistance level essentially in the pre-market and after the bill. That is the implied balance high, that 139 level, right? We never reached it again until 1230. So that counts as implied balance high. And here we go, man. This is forming into one hell of a hammer candle. Still has a lower high and a lower low, but it's being bought up aggressively, and it's less than 10 pennies away from the high of the day. So AIFF really continuing to do it live here, and a good look. So is DAWN, CONL as well, CONL, pardon me. A great hold here and looking like a rounded bottom off the 20 EMA on the 5, now putting in higher lows and higher highs after a 4 red candle, uninterrupted kind of trend to the downside. Prior bar high, because we opened up a new bar here, 1072 on CONL. Current bar price right now 1067. So look for a possible move into 1080. I think my biggest mistake of the day was trading MSTU rather than CONL, because CONL looks a hell of a lot better. Look at the divergence here. Top of your screen, bottom of your screen. MSTU down and to the right, putting lower lows and lower highs. CONL, Joey, higher lows, higher highs, and curling here, possibly into that 1080. So be on the lookout for those. ASNS, I was right about this one. This is just yelling to be shorted. We'll do better on that one next time. I didn't get the chance to short that. It required locates. But look at this uninterrupted downtrend, guys, on Asness over here. Unbelievable move down. So yeah, Joey, it's one after. We're gonna have kind of probably a little bit of a shorter news segment today, but at least we'll get something in. And just give me 1 sec, Joey, to set that up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was looking at a couple names here. She was talking about MSTR not too long ago. I mean, it did get a little move from 136 all the way up to 150 approximately. But if we zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture, it kind of did what Bitcoin did, right? But it's not acting, in my opinion, as that leverage. I feel that you would get a more of aggressive move. You can't really complain about almost like a 14-point move there. But aside from that, I think Bitcoin's really going to have to get going in order for this to even somewhat recover. And it's supposed to be a leverage play. I just don't feel like it's reacting as so. So we'll keep an eye out on MSTR. If you want Bitcoin exposure, hey, maybe Michael Saylor is onto something, just issuing digital credit. He can become essentially the digital bank or whatever you would like to call it. But I don't know about this individual right now.
Michael Saylor?
Yeah.
He's not in everybody's favorite good books anymore, bro.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
you get smacked like that.
Yeah,
you know?
shareholders and obviously everything along those lines.
Have we heard about any shareholder lawsuits yet for MSTR ever since the drop? Because that would be really interesting here.
Sailor Moon.
There goes AIFF. I told you, Anurag, to be on the lookout here. AIFF back into the day high, 163. Here we go, showing selling 62, but pardon me?
Oh.
Luis, oh man, yeah, we got a lot for Luis. Okay, great. So let's bring in Luis Barbado, and we'll do the news after. A lot to talk about. Great to see you again, Luis. Let's start off as we always do. How's the weather?
The weather is good. It's good. It's been a little bit colder these days, but as usual, very good.
So only like 22 degrees then, right? And colder.
No, probably it's been like 15 or 16 for the last couple of days.
I was about to brag, Luis, because we got a nice day outside, but it's only 5 degrees. But the sun is out, so we will take that, especially with the winter that we had. Well, it's 6, Assassino. Okay, so it's 6 degrees now. All right, there's a lot moving today, Luis, so I want to take your opinion here about one that I don't know if you're involved in this one, but it really does look like something you'd be interested. ASNS, Luis. It was up big on the day, and now it has basically an unbroken lower high trend ever since putting in that 945 high, up 175%, but really giving it up. What was your look on this one?
On ASNS, we shorted in the pre-market, but once it broke the VWAP and the pre-market highs on 0.50, the shorts got pretty much squeezed and very fast squeezed. So it was difficult on that part. We stopped out, and then we saw some consolidation between 0.60, 0.70. We shorted there. Stop was very clear over 0.70, so it was a nice risk-reward trade. We are holding yet some short position on these ones.
Yeah, this is an excellent one. I feel like this one didn't, at least after, I know you were looking at it in the pre-market, of course, but ever since that 945 candle, Luis, I didn't feel that this one was giving you, fake signals where it would make another area high, drop back down. It felt like, the lower highs were really in play and the shorts were really in control. What I was looking at specifically was possibly a flat bottom break through the $0.50. It seems to be holding on to the $0.50. And especially because I think we had initially in the pre-market, we definitely had that $0.50 as a resistance. I'm talking about, around 6 a.m. So I'm looking for a possible loss of that $0.50, and then we might be looking for some locates on that.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting trade was between 60 cents and 70 cents, and both sides were okay. I mean, if you long there with below 60 the stop, you have like 2 or 3 risk rewards if it breaks highs. Yep. And if you short there, it's the same. You have very tight stop, 70, 71, 72 cents. And if it broke 60, I think it could be an end of day fade.
And you're getting love in the chat, Luis, from Zion Lala with a $5 super chat. It says, Luis on fire, great call. Shorts on BATL and VCIG today. Thank you, Mr. Barbado. Let's look at the trade here on BATL, and this one, unbroken, Luis, multi-day lower high. Started out strong yesterday in the pre-market, and then you can just kind of see the lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower lows. Did you execute on this one today?
I'm very angry with this stock because I was shorting it yesterday with the T1 offering with 15 million offering, and it didn't work the way I expected. It held at $25, $26, I remember. And today I didn't short it because I was waiting for a push to the VWAP. And when it happened, I didn't like the time of the day and the volume, and the oil and gas sector was a little bit strong. So we didn't take the short on this one. We should have taken just pre-market when the consolidation was very tight. But, the volume was very, very low. The spread was high, so it was very difficult to pyramid a nice size position.
And it's a bit more expensive as well. How are the locates on that? Were they expensive?
Oh, yesterday was $9 per 100 shares.
100?
I don't remember today.
And MobX as well, Luis. This one was very strong yesterday as a long. Today, kind of the opposite. It looks like we even gapped up pretty aggressively at 4 a.m. We got into that $1.60, but that was as good as we could do. And it looks like, you know, basically using VWAP here, trading below VWAP the majority of the day. How was this one?
Yeah, short there after the first spike. I didn't take the short here after these spikes here or here below VWAP, as you said. And I just took one short here on the 1.5, 1.10 push now and closing below $1, half of it. I'm holding the other half.
Assassino. Sorry, Luis, we're just setting up for Joseph.
Oh, hey, Luis, how's it going?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. All right, so if you've noticed over the past couple of conversations that you and I have, I've kind of been dissecting how you go about your trading. So we talked about the picking from a volume standpoint, breaking down that criteria, increasing your risk, and obviously exponentially bet sizing. But I want to take a couple steps back here. And Sharif brought up an interesting point, and you mentioned too, is that it was $9 per 100 shares. So when you go through your selection process, do you find yourself at times like, hey, these shorts are too expensive, it may not be worth it for me to put on this trade?
Yes, absolutely. It's all, you know, the price of the locate, it goes with the volatility and the demand offer. So if the broker has a lot and there is not a lot of demand of trader asking to locate these shorts, the price will go down. But when the stock is very interesting because it's volatile, the broker says, you know, you're going to have a home run here if you hold end of day. So the price go a little bit higher. So what you have to take into account is how many cents per share you think you're going to get if you are in the wrong pattern, and how much are you willing to pay that. So I think around 15-20% of the profit, it can go to the locate. That's okay if the winning ratios and risk reward are in the good shape, you know?
Yeah, perfect. All right, so that's going to lead to my next question. Now, is there specific environments? I remember the previous time we had a conversation, I'm like, hey, are you looking for that correlation between the IWM? You're like, no, you want to see that divergence between the IWM and the specific names you're trading. But that leads to me asking, during times of rate cutting environments, do you find it a little bit more difficult to find shorts in the small cap world? Or how does that work? How do you feel, and how do you gauge kind of the economic environment?
I don't think it has to do with the economic environment. It's more about the cycle in the small caps. So we work for cycles. Sometimes longs take the control, and once we have one supernova, that one stock that goes up like 1,000%, all the long bias traders are, you know, in the mood to jump in the long side, buy stocks and everything. So the locates go more expensive because we have this runner cycle, we call it. And sometimes we spend 1 month, 2 months where we don't have runners, we don't have crazy parabolic shorts. So the shorts are more in control of the market, you know, and everything that pop out over 20, 30%, it end up fading during the day. So then, you know, more shorts are asking for shorts. So it's more about the cycle in the small cap that we are, more than economic situations.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Luis. Fantastic stuff.
All right, Luis, I know you showed us a couple of your trades. You had a couple on MobX as well. What else did you trade today?
CCHH, I think, was the most interesting stock, but it was very tricky to jump into the short, you know, because front side was very, very tricky to go. I didn't trade good this one, I have to say. I went short here, and this consolidation I thought was over the movement. I had to stop out, sell again, go short again, and then I took, a nice run, but not enough. I think the right move was to wait more on the backside and go short probably here, or even when the VWAP broke. Listen, I know it has gone down like $10, but from 21 to 7, still a lot to go, you know. So it was better to wait. I have to say, when this stock jump into our scanner, the first thing you see is a couple of words that you don't want to see in the headlines of the news if you are a short bias. One was Nvidia, The other was AI related, AI related, Nvidia, Power First or whatever, and then Malaysia as a country. So very tricky, low float, Malaysia, Nvidia, AI. So I said, be patient for the entry. It is more important to be late than early on this kind of trade. So it was very, very difficult actually.
That looks like a very profitable trade, though. A big. We call those the Christmas tree, Luis, because
Yes,
it's a
absolutely.
triangle, green and red, right? Very, very festive. What else did you trade today, Luis?
We trade, of course, AFF, right?
Nice.
I think you're very happy with this one.
Yes.
We shorted this one, but we made profit on this one, even shorting. We short this area, 130, 135. We short big time here again, and we took profits on the VWAP close to the one and stop out the rest here when it broke the high. So there is money for the longs as you, and there's money for the shorts as well.
That's excellent right there, Luis. Thank you for coming on. It's still going here. So for anybody who's in the chat that's looking at AIFF, it just made another high day into 173. Very, very strong on this one. Luis, you had a great trade on that one. You know what I was looking for, Luis? I want to take your opinion on this. I'm starting to form a bias here with these type of names. When you get this prolonged, unbroken, lower high trend, right? And then you get a decided break. Here wasn't that clean, Luis, so I did get cut up on it initially because it popped up, it reclaimed VWAP, and I was like, okay, this is 3 or 4 bars now on the 5-minute chart that's above this lower trend line, but it gave me a scare because it lost VWAP. So what I'm trying to get at here is what I noticed with these ones when they have a prolonged lower high trend, and then you get a very clean break of that downtrend line, it typically sets up for a very high quality trade. This one didn't give it to you right away, but eventually it came in. Has that been your observation when the lower high trend breaks, that it could be setting up for something positive?
Yeah, actually it's one setup we call VWAP reclaim. So we have a very sharp up movement during the pre-market usually, or just right at the gates when the market opens. We have a very sharp movement. Then we see a very tight consolidation without a lot of volume and losing VWAP, right? From some part of the day. We have it here, okay? So sharp movement, tight consolidation, we lose VWAP and we reclaim VWAP with low volume. As you can see, we have very, very low volume on that consolidation part. Once we reclaim VWAP and new highs, as you say, and the downtrend channel is broken, longs are in control, as you did very good on this one. Actually, we stop out of the short when you went long, probably, and so we gave you liquidity, no problem.
Perfect. That's going to lead. There's a couple good questions in the chat, Luis, that I wanted to ask you, and I think it's a great example. So we can just kind of shift over into what exactly, if you are short a couple of these small cap gappers, what are some of the price action, I guess, identifiers that you can pick out that say, hey, we might fall ourselves into a short squeeze, and that you don't get caught in an uphold, especially if you're going to the short side?
Well, I try to train my traders to understand the mass psychology. Let's say, how are the people feeling? Where are the most people uncomfortable? So are the shorts comfortable in the position? Are they, suffering because they think it's going to go up? So it's very important that you feel who is not, quiet and calm with the position. And once you can learn this, you have the feeling of the market. And then, of course, you have to learn level 2, tape reading, So there you see not so much the direction, but the timing. So if the position and the chart and everything is telling you the shorts are not very comfortable here, and we might see a pop, it's just about timing when it's going to happen. You see that on the level 2, like refreshing, holding beats, big offers getting through, and all these kind of things that we look in the level 2. And it happened here when it broke 115, 120. We saw the level 2 with a lot of momentum, big offers are bought right away. So it's very important as well.
Perfect. Great stuff, Luis. Looking forward to more conversation next Wednesday. Have a fantastic one.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you, man. All right, guys, once again, fantastic stuff and information from the world of small caps with Louise and Sharif. So if you're looking to get more involved with that stuff, you found the right place and at the right time, 1 o'clock approximately every Wednesday. And he'll be on Wednesday mornings as well, too, if you cannot make the afternoon session, but I'm sure you can. All right, guys, moving forward, I know Katina Man's got that silver short cooking up for him over there as it cooked all the way down to 74.59. My boy was in a long time ago, so he's probably kept catching $1 plus on that trade. So we'll hit the bang bang in the money for him on that front. So good trade there, Katina Man. We like that. You were long NVDA this morning, okay? So it's been forming a channel. I mean, it's not too bad. It's somewhat of a bull flag. It can definitely break a little bit higher here, but we talked about that supply zone at 190, still a ways away, 7 points approximately from where we're currently trading at. So not a bad look whatsoever. And what I was doing here essentially is like, hey, am I gonna get involved in a kind of a retracement play back to VWAP? But I'm just not pulling the trigger. I mean, Apple is selling and the overall market's holding up. But what isn't selling is Microsoft, right? Microsoft's still hovering around the high of the day. That's insane. It makes things extremely more difficult when you're trading a vehicle that has so many factors that are implemented into it. And these are them right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names, right? You have to take them in. You have to take that into consideration. If they're all not moving in tandem, then it might make things significantly more difficult. You have Broadcom starting to come in a little bit here. Meta, how are you been performing? Bouncing off the volume-weighted average price. So if you get a strong uptick, right? It's like, okay, we have Apple selling, but then you have Meta and NVDA and Microsoft putting in strong upticks. Then it's just going to really add that pinning effect in the overall market. It makes the short and significantly more difficult. And that's what I've been saying for quite some time. Moving forward, how's our boy Benioff doing over here? Let's see. Oh, okay, trend.
Is he getting clipped as well?
Yeah, I mean, but he's trend line broke though.
He's trend line broke. That's a bit of a consolidation there,
at
Joe.
the lows. This isn't a horrible thing, right? Like
I think that's
kind
a
of
bear
what you
flag,
say.
though?
It could be, but I mean, how much lower could this, like, what is your additional leg lower, right? Like, that's what I asked myself. A stock that has already been absolutely decimated and down, what is it, like 60% or 50% at the lows? Yeah. How deep could this next leg be? The previous earnings support wasn't horrible.
No, it wasn't.
Right? Obviously, there's things that can, you have invasive things that can really hinder what's going on with Salesforce, but you have a secondary trend broken. Maybe you'll find somewhat of a rebound here in CRM.
The thing is, like, I don't want to start like pontificating, like I understand software and I don't, right? But I vibe coded the risk calculator and the ease with which you can make adjustments
so much
on that, but like
now.
just tell Gemini, and I didn't even use Claude Code. I was using Gemini, right? I was like, you know, remove this, add that, and it just does it for you.
So
it's copy and paste,
crazy.
Right? Does software ever recover to the multiples that it was at as a result of AI?
Yeah, I know. That's such a fantastic,
you know what I mean?
And the only answer I can say to that, Sharif, is time will tell.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Time will tell. I mean,
will tell.
it's just
Dude,
we try to make
so
educated guesses so that we can
you
invest.
can get involved, right? I mean, I was talking with Jose the other day, and I told you this before, and he's like, dude, I can code so much faster now using Claude. It's like it's so much easier. And some of the algos that he was showing me are clean. And I was like, and we had that conversation is like, how do you quantify certain things and put them like something that requires a lot of a discretionary aspect. How do you quantify? But it's that line is getting more and more blurred with the detail you can put into this code.
All right, we're going to pause for a second. We'll do the news after this, but we're going to the big desk with Adara.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just began her press conference. She's already talking here about Iran, saying, quote, the Iranian regime is being crushed. Also, Intel on watch here. New York Times reporting that senators are questioning Intel over use of tools from a Chinese firm. Not the first allegation we've had here with regards to Intel and potential associations with China, usually where the CEO of the company is concerned. But either way here, guys, keep an eye on INTC. And also, of course, the market as we get White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt with her conference. I'll keep you guys posted on anything market related here.
Thank you for that, Adara. Phil, Sharif, for simple things, yes. For non-trivial things, no. There's no thought. It's just pushing out code for stuff that's already been done. Software architect here. Thank you for chiming in, Phil, because clearly I don't understand the space. I don't know whether this is good or bad. Do we progress? I asked you a question, though, Phil. I'm like, do you think that this is sort of step number one, or let's say level one in kind of automated coding? Does it improve, especially, with the possible onset of AGI, right, where it can reason and understand for itself? Does coding or this vibe coding thing improve with AGI? I'd love to hear your take on that.
Of course, there's no doubt in my mind.
I tend to agree with you, but I want to hear what he has to say because he's a software architect.
For sure.
Craig Caldwell, Sharif, I believe software will recover and integrate AI like everyone else. I don't see it as a replacement to these companies have done tons of proprietary data and software AI can enhance. Very interesting take there. Very interesting. I love look at this. A dad for PV, look up OpenClaw. Brother, I mean, what do you mean look up OpenClaw? Thank you for suggesting it, of course, but we are very well aware of OpenClaw. We are using our own OpenClaw-like. We're using Perplexity Computer right here on the floor. And so, yeah, very, very much aware of it. I knew about OpenClaw, I think, from like 3 or 4 weeks ago. TikTok is just inundated with people putting out videos of setting up their OpenClaw on Mac Minis and whatever else. I know he's running it now on AWS and benefiting, of course, from the security that AWS offers. So yeah, definitely there. Phil answers back. We are seeing the limits now, both in tech and simply in the level of training. More data for training equals less precision. Interesting. So there's definitely a point of balance, and I think we are close. That's a great take, brother, and thank you for chiming in there. I really wanted to get...
This individual knows significantly more than me, but I think it's really tough to call a ceiling on this. I mean, Did you think 100 years ago that we'd have these cell phones?
No. I didn't. I wasn't around, though. But
we weren't around. But did you think the people of that time would be like, hey, man, we got these handheld devices, computer setups like this. There's zero chance. No. I just don't think there's a ceiling on where technology can go.
I happen to agree with that.
I don't think
at least I think maybe he's speaking like in the short to intermediate term. But I see what you're saying. Guys, Dawn is rocketing freaking up here, man. It is unabated to the quarterback into the high of the day. 1284 is the high. We gave you this one on the first breakout candle. I'm talking about 1240. This is where we gave it to you. As soon as you guys were mentioning it, we looked it up. Again, it's a headline. It's a takeover speculation. One biopharmaceutical. Here it is. There's speculation that IPSEY, this trades on the Jeff Mendel's exchange called Ipsen, and Jazz Pharmaceuticals, this trades on I think the Nasdaq under JAZZ, are interested in taking over day one, trading under Dawn, according to traders who cited a BATL, quote, uncooked alert that was circulating on Wednesday. Jazz is speculated to be the most likely to acquire all of day one, which is Dawn, according to the report. In early December, BATL reported that day one was set to have attracted takeover interest. It's rocketing up as we speak right now. Trade it carefully, but it's basically got one measly looking red candle ever since we gave you this breakout here, and that is the candle at 110, which barely closed red. Okay, I lied. We just closed another red candle there. That just made the high of the day. Coming back now into 1261. Levels are as follows. I have a bias that there could be a buyer here between 12 to 12 and a quarter. It's a bit of a range. Reason is you get that consolidative look for about 10 minutes at that 1220, 12 and a fifth, 12 and a quarter, and then you have the 10 EMA on the 5 as well as the whole dollar level hanging around 12. So be on the lookout here for DAWN, Joey, as we start the news.
All right, man, good stuff.
Let's start it.
Yeah, fire it up.
You got anything to mention before we start?
No, I'm just sitting in the same position.
Crypto stocks surge on Bitcoin breakout and Trump rhetoric. I mentioned this before. I allow Truth Social to send me notifications on my phone for obvious reasons. I don't allow many apps to send me notifications, but this one I do, and I did get this when President Trump tweeted about the Genius Act and the Clarity Act initially yesterday, and I looked at Bitcoin. It had a bit of a breakout. It moved like, I think, $500-600, but, you know, I didn't see insane continuation. That continuation came later. So Bitcoin momentum, crypto equities are trading sharply higher in tandem with Bitcoin. We saw coin, MicroStrategy, let's call it, in tandem with Bitcoin, which breached a 3-week high Wednesday morning. Where are we at on the coin right now, Joey? We are currently $73,435. We're up 7.5%. Good look. Political catalyst. President Trump signaled support for the Clarity Act on Truth Social, stating it needs to be, quote, taken care of to prevent banks from undermining the industry. There is regulatory optimism here. Trump shared a screenshot of Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong praising the administration's steps to make America, quote, the crypto capital of the world. I do believe that was an older tweet. Tickers to watch. We got Coin, MicroStrategies. We got Mara, Riot, IBIT, ETHE. I remember you were all over that. Hut, CleanSpark, IREN, Can, Hive. There's no shortage, Joey.
Yeah, as soon as we started talking about the Genius Act and the Clarity Act is when I got involved with some ETHA, the Ethereum Trust there, not BMNR or anything along those lines. I think it's just a massive step forward, and we talk about technology all the time. I think it's just the progressive move, the use cases of the blockchain and everything along those lines. So for me personally, it's tough, right? Like it feels like this pullback is extremely tough, but we have the names like Circle. The stable coins need to be placed on a blockchain as well too. So there's a lot of positivity in the near future in the crypto space. Am I calling a bottom on Bitcoin? Am I calling a bottom on Ethereum? No, I'm not, but I'm saying it's just one small win after the other, and sure enough, maybe you can find somewhat of a recovery here in the crypto space. Yeah.
This is the man.
Oh yeah?
This is the man who punched into Nvidia and will punch more, according to what he said. I saw his picture there with your friend Elon. So this is our, why am I zooming in on him so much? This is your boy, billionaire Leo Koguan, okay? He supports a nervous market. So billionaire Leo Koguan purchased 1 million Nvidia shares at approximately $180.05 per share to, quote, show support to a nervous market. He doesn't think there's a bubble, guys. He thinks this whole AI bubble thing is overstated. He publicly stated he does not believe AI is a bubble, calling it, quote, just the beginning. I think we may have a lot of volatility, but I think AI is going to be insanely game-changing for humanity. We'll see for the better and for maybe the worse. Who knows? Future intent. He communicated plans to purchase an additional 1 million shares in the near future. He didn't specify, Joey, exactly when he intends on doing that, but 1 million shares of Nvidia is not a small amount of money.
It's not a small amount of money whatsoever. I mean, if this guy likes, I've liked this name for quite some time. A lot of this AI trade doesn't work without NVIDIA, and I think this is what everything's based around. Is this a bubble? But we've seen the fundamentals out of the previous report. It's still growing at a substantial rate. Are we in that exponential growth cycle? No, but the growth is still being sustained, which I think is absolutely big. It's the king of inference, and it's going to continue to be that way. We know that we have the other hyperscalers looking to build their own chips, but I believe that NVIDIA has such a head start on everybody else. They're going to remain at the top of their class for quite some time.
What I'd like to get your opinion on the headline that we got yesterday. Remember that Grok tie-up? Or was that Monday? I forget. With that company that Chamath was involved in. Remember they invested about $19 or $20 billion into this company. They didn't want to buy them outright because they were worried about some antitrust stuff, which I disagreed with. I don't think that they would have got dinged for that. But this company, all they basically do is create custom silicon.
Yeah,
and
I remember you talking to me about that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And so we had NVIDIA come out this week and say, look, we're going to have a product for that in the near future. Mm-hmm. You got to love that. And much to the chagrin, of course, for the Broadcoms. And let's be honest, with the Marvells as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's kind of what they're doing.
Yeah,
and NVIDIA's throwing their hat into that ring now.
And with them already holding so much of the share and higher margins,
Exactly.
it's just him just kind of keeping up with the race. And I think that's what he essentially needs to do.
Feels like that, right? Let's talk a little Tesla. BOA is bullish on Optimus and energy. So they have a new buy rating. Bank of America resumed coverage. Resumed? Why'd they stop? With a buy rating and a $460 price target. It's trading at 4.5 right now, but it was basically on the door of 500 not long ago. The robotics valuation, though, BofA values Optimus humanoid robot business at over $30 billion. It's approximately 2% of Tesla's market cap. And the energy segment, which is by far their fastest growing segment. We report that to you guys, report after report, quarterly report after quarterly report. The bank values that at triple what they value Optimus at, $90 billion, which would be about a 6% valuation from yesterday's close, citing the strong market share in Powerwall and Megapacks for data centers. Anecdotal story, my sister who lives in California, in Southern California, she actually had a Tesla rep come over and give her an assessment of how much it would cost to put solar on a roof, because you know they have like flat roofs, a lot of houses in California. And the actual solar cost, the actual panels were not that much. It was the battery pack, it was the storage that they were trying to sell her on, which was the majority of the money. And like they try to upsell her constantly, be like, no, you can only have like half a day's worth of power. This is like 3 or 4 days worth of power. Obviously, they're trying to sell her on their most expensive product. What company wouldn't, right? Mm-hmm. But it seems as if these costs are still kind of high for you know, just regular households. You know, maybe businesses stomach this kind of thing. Yeah. They can write it off, Joey. It's an expense. But for people, regular to everyday people who want to upgrade their home, it's still a little expensive still.
Still a little expensive. Yeah, I mean, as for Tesla, guys, we know where we stand on this name. It's almost like we're going to start kicking the curb to the vehicle side, and we're not going to really look at that. It's robo-taxi with the energy storage segment continuously growing as well, too. So, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to in Tesla, and I don't think it's going to be its electric vehicle segment here anytime soon.
Yeah, I got to agree. I feel like he's kind of, it's running thin. I think he's losing interest, quite frankly. He's losing interest in vehicles, but he's shown his propensity to change a lot more lately. Have you seen how he's kind of digressed away from Mars and now is focusing more on the moon?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
That, but
I don't blame him.
He used to be all about Occupy Mars.
Yeah.
And then now he's not really too
No,
obsessed.
well, his argument is, you know, we need
too far. But he still plans to go there.
Yeah, he does.
He still plans to go there. They have to wait for a certain cycle, right?
Exactly. You can only go twice a year to Mars, where you can go like every 13 or 14 days to the moon or something like that. I forget the exact cycle.
You said you would punch your one-way ticket there, right?
100%.
One way.
Yeah. I would be one of the first people to ever go there, and you know, like, just send me with some provisions, you know what I mean?
Some provisions.
You know what they're thinking about doing? They want to land everything there before they send people, so there would be like autonomous things that would drop off supplies, infrastructure, and then the humans would go after that, right?
Occupy.
One-way ticket. And if that, and 2 New York cents, and that is if they even work. So many people complain about them not working as efficient as they promised they would be. Then the installation company goes out of business a lot, and then what? I'm sure you're talking about the solar panels and the energy storage. Okay, I didn't actually hear that to New York. I actually didn't hear that feedback, but that's actually quite interesting to hear that from you. Yeah, I'm wondering why Tesla doesn't have a better contractor for something like that. Because, you know, basically they do everything on their own for Tesla maintenance, right? Like that Model X shows up to your house with the repairman and they do everything on site unless it requires something a bit more, something bigger. Then you go into the Tesla dealership, but that's interesting there.
Someone said, like, so we're talking about this. Everyone's saying you guys are talking about hopes and dreams. I get what you're looking at, but you have no idea what's down the road past our lifetime.
I'm surprised people still feel that way.
If the Earth isn't going anywhere, do you think that technology is going to remain stagnant?
But you're looking at what AI is doing on a daily basis. I mean, come on, you can't think that this is fiction.
Before AI, like, look how you've
I don't
gone
think it's fiction. I don't think
to go there to Mars.
Yeah, I think we're going in the next 50 years. Easily.
Even so, man, you're telling me as long as an asteroid doesn't come here and blow everything up and humans remain on the planet, that we're not going to get there? You don't think we're going to become a multi-planetary species?
I have no doubt. Unless something intervenes.
If I could go into the poly market right now and somehow like place the bet now so that multiple generations down the road somehow win that bet, and then I'm doing that.
Yeah. No, you're right. Let's talk a little GitLab here, Joey. GTLB reported earnings after the bell yesterday, and they're down 7 3/4. Weak guide triggers the sell-off. So Q4 beat, so it looks like they beat on the current or the previous quarter. They reported Q4 earnings about 30 pennies per share, only $260.5 million in revenue. That did beat the estimates of 23 pennies per share and 252.5 million in revenue. We're going to pause for a second. We're going up to the big desk with Adara.
I've been seeing some comments from Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang at this Morgan Stanley TMT conference. He says that the company's $10 billion investment in Anthropic will likely be their last. Also saying that the opportunity to invest $100 billion is not on the cards right now. That's an OpenAI. So just talking here about these investing in OpenAI and Anthropic, sounds like they're kind of going to cool off on Anthropic and OpenAI. They just don't think that size of investment is likely as of right now. So again, just keep an eye here with regards to NVDA. Furthermore, I'm just seeing here apparently there's been some weakness in fertilizer stocks here. Reports that the DOJ is probing the U.S. fertilizer market for possible price fixing. I think I read something of that a while ago, but MOS moving down here. This is CF Industries, and NTR. That would be Nutrien. All of these ones on watch. Back to you.
An interesting headline there. Opportunity to invest $100 billion in OpenAI is probably not in the cards. I love that typo there, as they're going to go public. Morgan Stanley TMT conference. Interesting look there. Natalie, Sharif, be careful with Tesla Solar. They hire. Okay, so you're saying, Natalie, you're saying the same thing that 2 New York Cent says. So there's got to be something to it. They hire third-party contractors, and they are not honest. Our neighbor in LA had Tesla roof installed, and my husband, who knows the electrical, helped me deal with them. Thank you very much, Natalie, for mentioning that, because 2 New York just said the same thing. I'm going to pass that information on to my sister, because she is literally in the process now of trying to get solar on her roof. And the first people she called, when she asked me, of course I told her Tesla. I didn't know any of this, obviously, but I'm going to pass that information on. I do appreciate that. I see ASNS, I see a Green Saber, but you know, this one has just failed so many times, brother. But I do see the downtrend break. If we extend, where the hell is it? If we extend this trend line, that's a pretty clean trend line there. I'm going to wait to see a little bit more, brother. Okay? Because this one is a bamboozler in chief. It did that to you over here. Remember? When it lost VWAP, quickly bounced back up with a big green candle and then dropped right back down. I realize that this is a bit of a, you know, a bigger breach than the one we had over here, but I'm going to need to see a little bit more. This one is guilty until proven innocent. So keep a lookout on that. Let's continue here with the GitLab report. So they beat in Q4, beat on the top and bottom line easily. However, selling off to the tune of 7 1/4 as a result of a soft guide. So full year 2027 revenue guidance of around 1.099 billion to 1.118. That missed. Well, the entire range missed the 1.124 billion consensus with the EPS guide, also with the range 76 pennies to 80 pennies. The street was looking for a lot more, Joseph. $1.05. That's a big miss there on EPS. I would say a way bigger miss on EPS than on revenue. Growth milestone, despite the gap down, the company's annual recurring revenue, ARR, surpassed $1 billion for the first time. Some silver lining there, Joey. What can you tell us here about GitLab?
Yeah, I mean, SaaS revenue, 32% of revenue there, 38% year over year. But I had to blink twice, Sharif. This is pretty good. Gross margins for full year 27, 85 to 87%. Well, full year 26 is around 89%. Pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
For software as a service. As for GTLB, guys, we were looking for the short. It was initially weak out of the get, but then it started to form somewhat of a recovery. We'll head over to the, GTLB, I'm like, what the hell, Leonte, is that? A strong recovery, right? You have the gap down. And that's kind of the narrative that I've been sitting on, is like some of these names have just been beaten to a pulp, essentially. How much lower can they go? And especially with a company that's still profitable and growing year over year and running a margin like that, It's not horrible whatsoever. Yeah, I get it, you're down 66%, but the question for me was how much lower can this thing actually go? It's finding somewhat of a rebound. This is a key pivot level. It broke through, but then found its way back up to the top end of that range.
ASNS, guys, is making a move here. This is distinctly different. Shout out to the OB. He is the one. Canob, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in the 6th green candle in a row, having reclaimed 50. On the way to breaching 60 pennies. ASNS is making a move here with a high of the day of 73 1/3. It's rejecting 60 for now, but this could be the move here, guys. Trade it carefully, use sound strategies, prior bar low, VWAP, current bar low, really depending on your own risk appetite. But this one is making a move. It just got into 60. The buying is picking up, and look at the volume bars. The volume bars are starting to pick up as well. So we'll keep an eye on this one. There it goes through 60 into 61. So ASNS here is making a move. There goes 61. Where's the high of that bar? No, it didn't quite get there to 61. Get excited there. 60 3/4. But it is making a move, guys. So be on the lookout there. We're going to continue with the news. Let's talk a little Moderna. Where's this one? They always disappoint me, Joe. I always feel like that they're going to do something better with their technology, and they just keep talking about vaccines, man. 10%. All right, so it's not a small move. Moderna, global patent litigation settlement. Upfront payment. Moderna agreed to receive $2.25 billion in global settlement with Arbutus, whatever, Biopharma, and Genevant Sciences to resolve a patent disputes. So I guess there was more than one. Lump sum payment, Joey. The deal includes $950 million payment due July of this year, which Moderna will record as a charge in Q1 of 2026. So it looks like Moderna is paying them, and they're going to basically look at our account for that in their quarterly revenue as a one-off charge, and they're going to take it Q1 of this year, even though it's payable in Q3. I think that's Q3 of this year. Contingent liability, an additional $1.3 billion could be owed depending on a Section 1498 appeal ruling, which still hasn't been resolved. So another $1.3 billion, Joey, that they could get smacked with there. Moderna, how's she doing?
This litigation is still over COVID-19 vaccine, Sharif. As you mentioned, we're still going on about vaccines here. It's still COVID-19. That was now 6 years ago, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. It's not you.
Yeah, I know. 21%, but I don't think unless there's some other crises
That's
or
the bottom there.
It is.
There, Joey. What is that? 24, 25 bucks?
Yeah, 21 bucks.
21 bucks.
I remember when I knew nothing about trading, I just knew how hey, you got to take advantage of a pandemics and crises, and I bought some Moderna. That's all I really knew essentially, and it worked out. Went up to $500. But this name will never recover unless they implement some additional pandemic. I don't think you ever get back there in MNRA.
All right, we're going to Adair.
Yeah, just be aware here, guys. Keep an eye on Nvidia, Amazon, and Apple. None of these names making any moves on this, but I think it's worth keeping an eye on this regardless. I'm seeing reports just now that apparently a big tech lobby group, which includes Nvidia, Amazon, and Apple, has written a letter raising concerns to Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth, of course, one of the cabinet secretaries here, with regards to designating Anthropic a supply chain risk. So I guess this big tech lobby, which does include NVDA, AMZN, and AAPL, not a fan of that decision that designated Anthropic a supply chain risk. Back to you.
Yeah, Brent, thank you for that. Yeah, Brent Rex, they're going to be dancing on the table. $6.7 million in revenue, and they get a $950 million lump sum payment, Brent Rex. They're going to be pumped. Cool, 40, 33, Sharif. Kept hearing pack the patience on QQQ and waiting for those entries paid off. My man, that's kind of what I want to hear, man. Trading requires a lot of discipline and a lot of patience, really depending on what you're trading. If it resolves quickly or it doesn't, good on you, and keep doing more of that. Love to hear it.
Before we go to that next segment, you got something up there? Or
that's what Adair just talked about right there.
Okay, so we got two things here that we're going to celebrate.
Go ahead.
All right, we're going to start with Agdrovka video. Anyways, you get what I'm getting at. I'm celebrating the best trading day of my life with BATL, $9,400 gain. Celebrate, my friend, but make sure you lock in right after. And you know what I typically say?
What do you say?
Don't spend it all in one place.
My old man used to say that.
Don't spend it all.
That I never listened.
But don't.
Yeah. He's another guy who was blessed with wisdom at a young age because his old man died when he was 16, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they were building a building, Joey, because that's what everybody did at the time. Because basically Egypt was socialist and they would take all your money, right?
Yeah.
And so like you had to put it into something physical. Otherwise, that money was, right? The government was going to take it. And his dad died when he was 16 while they were building the building. So this guy had to go and monitor the construction workers, and they were always trying to rip him off.
Was it like a workplace accident or other causes?
No, he died of a heart attack. It was in the middle.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress. But
not really.
Yeah, man, like 16 years old, so he had to wise up pretty quick, right?
He had to be the man of the house.
He had to. Well, his brother was older than him, but his brother washed his hands with everything.
What's
3 years older.
A little off track.
Yeah.
You know, in the Diamond District when they're like making deals, what does Mazal?
Tracks.
Yeah, tracks.
Tracks
What is
NYC.
Mazal? They're always like Mazal.
I don't know.
Mazalito.
That's Yiddish. That's Yiddish. Yeah, check with chat. I'm pretty sure it's Yiddish.
Or Mazalito or something like that. All right, Zen Zombie. Sorry about that, brother. I have long calls, number HAL, Shallow Hal, CXW, and Soundhound. Let's go that $2 super chat. Let's go through those quick names before we go over Shallow Hal right now. Shout out to Jack Black. How have you been looking? Okay, pull back there. So we'll look at that one there. Not too bad. CXW. Who are you? Or Civic. Okay, let's go. Let's hopefully that cooks up for you as well too, Zen. And then Soundhound. How have you been performing? Bang. Off of those lows. Maybe you get a nice little pop there in Soundhound. I think they got an upgrade the other day or a downgrade. I'll have to double check, but thank you, Zen Zombie, very much for that. What does everybody say? Mazal. Did they say what Mazal means? No one said Mazal.
Right. No.
I
was responding to Crouching
Cat. The chat is usually pretty good.
Casey's saying BATL. So if Casey's saying it, I got to check. Oh, it is breaking out, Case. We were asking Luis about this as well. Remember, here's BATL. We're going to get to the next story in a second, but BATL is breaking trend. There it is. So we were drawing this trend line. It was basically a multi-day lower high trend. It's above VWAP. It broke above the pre-market, not the pre-market full high, but a pre-market area high. I'm talking about 20.5. And here it is in the 2175. It looks like it's on the way to 2. Pre-market high is that literal first print of the day, the 4 a.m. print, 26 1/3. Big breakout right now, or big move up on BATL. Good look into that $22 area. Let's go on to the next story, Joey. We're going to talk a little CrowdStrike, a name you know very well. Record ARR, record annual recurring revenue. But the shares did slide. I guess they're up now because we were looking at them. They were up 2 and change. Earnings beat. They reported Q4 EPS of $1.12 on revenue of $1.31 billion. That is slightly above the estimates, with their growth, record growth I mentioned, ending the ARR reaching $5.25 billion. That is a 24% year-over-year increase, while net new ARR hit a record $331 million. They're stealing all the PanW clients, and I told you guys about this. PanW is having, if you believe the rumors, never confirmed by the company, they're having to offer discounts to prevent some of their clients from going to Zscaler and going to CrowdStrike. And so clearly, it's like the telecom companies, they're all fighting with each other for subscriber growth. Full year 2027 guidance projected sales of $5.867 billion up to $5.928. That is above the $5.862. The entire range is above. So CrowdStrike really being rewarded today, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at some of the numbers, it's really good. I mean, we got 23% year over year. That's not bad. The quarter was 1.31 billion. Sharif mentioned that. AAR up 24%. That's phenomenal stuff. GAAP net income in Q4 38.7 million, turning positive on GAAP basis for the quarter. Non-GAAP 289 million. Operating income 326 million. About a 25% margin of revenue. Okay, full year 26 operating income around 1.05 billion, 22% of revenue. So, I mean, gross margin still sitting around 79%. I think that this name was slightly overdone. We know that there's some disruptive services coming out there, but I don't think that's going to be the case here with CrowdStrike. I think we continue to climb a little bit higher here.
All right, where's USO at, Joey? We're up 1.2 on USO. So not that bad, but we'll see. Middle East tensions and insurance tailwinds. We'll talk more about this one when we get back from the big desk.
This is incredibly timely because this story, this headline actually has to do with oil. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying crude prices fell yesterday and remain stable today. Now, funny enough, as she says this, we did get a little bit of a drop here in CVX, but either way here, a day or more than 24 hours now after we had President Trump say that, you know, oil prices can go up a little bit, but then they'll come right back down. White House Press Secretary saying that, hey, they fell yesterday, they're stable today. So interesting commentary here coming from the administration. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening here. We obviously all know what's happening in the Middle East. Escalation. Israel launched 2 new attacks on Tehran on Wednesday morning. The group remains volatile on geopolitical headlines. Let's bring in that group and take a gander at how they're trading. They're mostly red on my watch list. As Adair just showed us, CVX down 2%. ExxonMobil getting clipped as well to the tune of 1 2/3. Occidental holding up a bit better, a little bit less than 1%. Devon Energy as well down 2.1. FANG 1.84. Schlumberger down 1.1.5. MPC's trending up here. What is this, oil or what? Yo, is your Fundamentals Explorer working?
Let's find out.
Because it's not showing me any of the stuff here, man. What's going on? In any event.
What did you want to look for?
Can you take a look at MPC, please? See if it gives you the about. No, it's not. Yours is malfunctioning as well.
Yeah, no.
Piece of crap. Anyway, yeah, so as a group, mostly red, which, you know, I'm sure there's people involved. Anyway, let's go on here. Maritime safety. President Trump announced the U.S. will provide risk insurance for maritime trade through the Persian Gulf to secure tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. We had seen some of the insane increases in the insurance costs. We were giving you an example of one of the shipping companies, which basically charged a little bit less than $500,000 on one tanker per day. And that was more than double what they had been charging on Friday. Not saying that it's not warranted, but that really does make things obviously a lot more expensive for people to operate, and they may forego it at all. We also talked about the different routes. There is that Saudi east to west pipeline into the Red Sea that can funnel some oil. There's also a couple of other routes that the Emiratis have, but it's by no means able to carry the almost 20% of the world's oil that would typically flow through the Strait of Hormuz through a tanker. So we're not saying that that's going to make up for anything, but it is something to keep in mind. Tickers to watch, of course, Joey, the ones that we just mentioned right now: XOM, Oxy, CVX, COP, even Indo. I know Neil was on Indo yesterday or the day before, and TPET as well. I was on that one yesterday.
TPET, nice. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything there, Sharif. As long as this conflict remains hostile until they secure it and make sure everything's safe. We have a lot of stagnant barrels of oil there. I believe Adair said there's multiple million still waiting to pass. So as long as we stay in this kind of narrative, I think there might be an oil trade. XOM went off, or that's what, no, it was, what was it? Yeah, XOM. No, that's ExxonMobil.
That's Exxon.
No, what's Randy's thing? Oxy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the best performing one today. It's down not even 1%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this was a big time breakout and a gap up from $47 all the way to $51 and climbs up to $56. So that's not too bad of a look there in some of these oil plays.
Microsoft, regulatory and competitive headwinds. Where's the soft one at? Up 1.5, a little bit more. There's a Japan probe here we can talk about. Japan's FTC launched a probe into whether Microsoft's licensing terms unfairly steer customers towards Azure over rivals. You're kidding me. A company wants to keep clients and customers internally? You gotta be pooping me here. OpenAI rivalry. This is getting more interesting between Nadella and Altman. Reports suggest OpenAI is developing a product to compete directly with Microsoft's GitHub. Oh, this is just gonna get even more interesting here, man. I don't personally know too much about that. I had to use GitHub though well, I didn't actually have to. They made me sign up initially though to vibe code my risk calculator. I ended up using this one. I talked to you guys about it. It's called Microsoft Visual Code Studio. It was recommended by Fabian, and it works great, by the way. What do you think about Microsoft on the day, Joey? Up 1.5, but they're raising the ire of the Japanese regulator.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by this as we continue to grow here, Sharif. I mean, the build out and everything along those lines. This name has been hit quite aggressively over time, and it's not very often that we see one of these mega cap tech names down 20-25%. No. But as for the Japanese regulator standpoint, I don't think that's too much to worry about.
Big,
yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be too heavy of a weight on this company's shoulders.
All right, Adam, I see AIFF, I see DAWN. They're both going. They both look really good. Is BATL still going? We're just going to check quickly. Rejecting 22, coming back into 21 and a third. But there's AIFF coming back into that 165 area. That, to me, Adam, is the bias. I realize that the high of the day is 173, but no closing prints really above that 165er. So good look there. DAWN just printed another high of the day. We gave this to you literally on this candle here, okay? 1306 back into the high, up 30%, was half that, more than half that when we gave you this one. Let's talk a little Apple here, oh boy. MacBook hardware expansion continues. MacBook update. I think today is the last day of this Apple reveal. I haven't really seen anything because I haven't had look at the blotter. Apple unveiled a new MacBook Pro featuring the M5 Pro and the M5 Max chips, emphasizing local AI computing. That has been Apple's moat. They have been saying this from the start that they want to keep the LLMs and small language models locally for the purposes of security, Randy. Is that the other daughter? No. Oh, okay. It's like a fusion architecture. Analysts highlighted the new architecture's ability to scale GPU performance without altering CPU. And that we've seen in the new A20 processor that I have in my phone. They just add more of these GPUs. I forget the name of it specifically, but they're basically adding these cores inside the chip, and they're kind of able to expand the AI abilities, obviously, by adding these GPUs. So interesting look. I mentioned as well the M3 processor on my mom Duke's iPad. She's loving it. Did they announce anything else new today? Or
no, I don't think anything really new today, Sri, but what I found interesting, and I think it's a solid point here, so with the new MacBook here, the Neo laptop around $600,
yeah,
these prices can be extremely competitive now. I mean, you don't have to be at the top end of the range and the higher end consumer, essentially, but it's going to exploit a lot of other names as well, too, especially in a RAM crunched environment.
Well
I
said.
think Apple has the ability to kind of eat these and chew up these costs. So this is extremely a competitive and strategic move from Apple releasing these cheaper MacBooks.
I personally like it. I made that case to you. I said $700. You have a choice, Joey. You get into an Apple laptop, or you buy a PC laptop from HP or whoever else. Which are you choosing? I'm just asking you, which one would you choose? Apple $700 laptop, or Dell or HP? $700 laptop. You're going Apple, right?
All day, every day. And then we know with Apple, you're going to be buying all the attachments with it. You're going to probably have to buy the USB cord as well, too. So there's just so many other little widgets and gadgets that you're going to have to purchase alongside with this. It's probably not going to be $700 flat. You know you got to buy it.
I think Windows sucks. It's insanely glitchy, and I'm just constantly annoyed by it. Whereas Mac OS is just not like that.
So when I first had my
yes, Assassino,
exactly.
Constantly, man.
Constantly.
Yeah, right. That's Fabian? Okay.
It's the compatibility. Like, you know that it's a little bit more difficult to use iOS on things. Like, you have to download Parallels and stuff like that. Like, Parallels is great. I had Parallels and I forget the other feature. But
most apps now, they'll have both. They'll have Apple, they'll have PC. I think that was back in the day,
I don't know what it's like, but when I first... So for Dash Trader Pro, you needed to download Parallels. Right?
They don't have a Mac?
No, they didn't have the Mac.
That's
I don't know if they did yet.
Why would they? Bless you, Neil.
So bless you, Katina, man.
Was that Katina man or Neil?
This guy better be ready to rock and roll. He's got 15 seconds. Katina, man, shut
No, we got to go to Adair. She still has to comment on Apple, right? Yeah. All right, let's let Adair comment on Apple.
Sucks.
So, I mean, yeah, they had this announcement this morning about their Neo, their Mac Neo. It's going to be like a small, like a cheaper version. I mean, it's funny because Brendan and I said this too. It's almost comical how quickly they pipe out these new, or pop out or whatever, produce these new devices when they're pretty good products. Like, you don't need to replace them that much. And I mean, I don't want to like necessarily just echo this conversation that I had with Brenda this morning on camera in front of you all, but I think it is kind of an interesting thing to kind of consider, right? We have all of these new products being put by Apple. They update whatever each year, and it's like, what's the purpose? Like, what are we doing? I kind of like Oppenheimer just reiterating perform here in terms of like the analyst action that we had this morning in Apple, because it's like, hey, this happened, this existed. We don't really know how to feel about it. And that's kind of how I feel every time Apple makes a new product announcement, with the occasional exception of the WWDC and then the September iPhone events. But yeah, I mean, I'm not super swayed by any of these events. Like I had my last MacBook for 7 years, no issues, dope times. My new one I've had like going on a year and a half, right? So these products last a long time. I think there's a lot of, they're trying to, I don't want to say planned obsolescence because that's not it per se. They're just trying to like continuously tell you need the next thing. Like, we need more generation now. Shout out to Black Eyed Peas, but like, you know what I mean? This constant, high-speed proliferation of new products. I don't think it's warranted. I don't think it's necessary. And I think, yeah, I mean, Oppenheimer nailed it. It's kind of a meh and a shrug for me.
Thank you very much, Dan the Man Emmons. My last Mac Pro lasted 15 years, from 2009. It supported up to 128 gigabytes of RAM, Randy. You're the same thing? You're the same thing. 2013, Randy has a 2013 MacBook with it's a trash can. The round wood. Okay, how much RAM does it have? 128. So it's still very, very operable, man. Like 128 is good, yeah. It's fantastic. He goes on to say, I now have the M2 Max MacBook Pro with 96 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabytes of storage, 3 years old, and we'll keep it forever. I think that's pretty much Apple products in a nutshell, that they're going to be quality, high quality products. I don't think that they have a choice. I think that they need a yearly release cycle. Otherwise, that revenue number stays stagnant. You can't have new products every year. So you've got to release new versions of the old product just for that revenue number. I get, people see it as unnecessary. I completely get that. But, when you're in a business environment, you got to do what you got to do, Joey. You see that? You see that time there, Katina Man? We give you another 3 over there, Katina Man.
This is getting out of hand. It's getting way out of hand.
All right, Joey, send them off, man.
Yeah, good stuff, guys. Fantastic session. 1 trade today. Katina Man's been in 2. We were in IBIT all day, up 8%.
All day, baby.
Not too bad. All day, baby, is right. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Attaboy.